jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back
What up, it's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and right now you tuned into World Combat Sports.
Once again, you tuned in to World Combat Sports. Salute to everyone that's in the building. I know it's Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully everyone had a, good time in church and all that. And, you was able to walk up front, get your testimony out, admit your sins and all that, and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to the WCS supporters. Appreciate you. Y'all hold on for 1 second. What's good, Dion? How you feeling, bro?
Man, what's going on, man? I'm gonna let you get your introduction off, man. But I got something to say, bro. I ain't gonna lie
for sure. For sure. Shout out to Dion Washington on deck with it. Flex on deck was good. Checking in, boss. We're driving to work. Appreciate you, that Flex. Mr. Gumbo on deck with it. Salute that, Mr. Gumbo. Always thank you for the support. Those of you that's tuned in to the channel. This particular live, of course, I wasn't planning on doing one on, Spence Crawford, but in wake of the events, hearing him go back and forth with Chris Colbert, being that we haven't even heard anything else on the fight. We just hear the same thing. The fight gonna happen. And really nothing else has came about it. But yet, after Frank Martin went in there and defeated Jackson Mariñez in the 10, somehow, some way, Chris Colbert has peeked his head out the barrel. And to me, that's something that's not even important that Spence should be involved with. If he's going to wear the promoter hat, man, wear it with a little bit more focus on the task at hand. You're still an active fighter. And we're trying to find out that, when the fight going to be, not you talking to Chris Colbert, who had Hector Garcia problems. And, he want to try to get in and do what exactly? Last time I checked, Frank Martin is at 135. So Chris Colbert really has nothing to do with anything right now. If Frank Martin is your fighter, I doubt Colbert is coming up to 35, and I doubt Martin is going to drop to 30. So I don't know what it is. But what's good, Dion? What you got, bro?
Man, you hit the nail right on the head. Like, it's not even just the Chris Colbert. You talking noise at Roll It, about him wanting to fight with Frank Martin. Like, bro, you owe it to the fans to do everything you can to get this Crawford fight over the line. You shouldn't be. I mean, I know you a promoter, but at the same time, come on, man. That's how come I don't even like talking about the fight, because I genuinely got an affection for both fighters. I like both fighters. Like, for real, I truly like both fighters. But man, the energy towards getting the fight over the line, it ain't where it needs to be, man. If you say you want the fight and y'all saying to each other next, it needs to be a very concerted effort to get the fight over the line. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, the more the double dutch and keep going, the belief in the fight even happening is gonna die. Dang. And it's gonna kill the momentum of what the fight's supposed to be.
Dion coming in here with the flamethrower, trigger to the rear. That shit just spraying everywhere. God damn. Hey, you said some real words, you know what I'm saying? You said some real words right there. I mean, I agree with all that. I agree with all that, man. I have no idea how you gonna make Rolly Romero and freaking Chris Colbert the topic of the conversation. Like, what promoters do that? Why are you still acting like you need to be involved in this type of situation? You're not doing that type of energy. You're not going back and forth with Terrence Crawford about a fight, but you want to bring Rolly into the equation just because you have a fighter that it'd be good to fight Rolly, a common opponent of Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? But even with Rolly Romero there, Dion, what weight class he at again? Lightweight. You know what I'm saying?
He's at 135. Yeah,
I know. He had lightweight, but from his conversation, he didn't say nothing about no Frank Martin. He was trying to fight Gervonta again. He's trying to fight Gervonta again, man. He wasn't trying to step in there with no Frank Martin. I mean, Frank Martin went 10 rounds now. He went to the 10th round with Jackson Martinez. And somebody's talking about he's gonna knock out Rolly. Rolly went into the 6th with Gervonta. I don't see Frank Martin having an easy day with Rolly Romero. Y'all, I don't see it, bro.
I mean, I just don't like the energy, man. I know you trying to promote your fighter and all that. I promise you, I understand. But as of right now, time is of the essence, man. We boxing needs this Crawford Spence fight.
I'm hearing all this doubt to my if it don't happen now, it's never gonna happen. It's amazing. Like, this is why I sequester the clickbaiters, because the clickbaiters is just they put this anchor in the minds of people that was tuned in listening as if this fight was done, it was signed, and it was going to be announced. None of that happened. In recent days, it just seems like it's been an absolute reverse. Parked, you know what I'm saying? It's skirted up out of there, went in reverse, parked, and it's been in the garage ever since. Because even though Errol Spence was at the post-fight conference, they didn't keep him long. They didn't keep him in front of the camera long enough so he can get that line of fire that we was looking for. They hurry up and gave him one question, then he was out. You know what I'm saying? They didn't allow people to put him on the spot about Terrence Crawford because he was wearing his promoter hat. But he's still an active fighter, though. You're an active fighter who's a part of one of the biggest fights potentially of this era. And, we out here dangling, swinging around, waiting, trying to find out if anything's going to come new age. We're going to get some new information on this fight. And all we know is Terrence Crawford ain't doing this. Terrence Crawford delaying this. Terrence Crawford. I mean, where the clickbaiters at? What's the new info? Damn, tell us something. Where's the info, bro?
I mean, because truth be told, in my mind, If he knew he was gonna do all that, he should have just declined the interview. We probably would have respected you more. Because see, now you can't even say we just trying to keep everything behind the scenes, but you didn't already start talking about it. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, you giving the perception that your energy not even on seriously making the fight.
True.
In an hour projection.
Why do you think his energy is not on the fight? Do you believe it's because, like everybody's been saying, that you know, PBC, Errol Spence really don't want the fight? You know, they're not trying to offer him fair money, regardless of what people are saying on the surface. I think it's pretty much surrounding the fact of what Timothy Smith said earlier this year. I don't think they're trying to respect Terrence Crawford as being that fighter when it comes to the negotiation table. I don't think so. I don't think they're trying to give him anything above a 60-40.
Fight ain't gonna happen then.
Because that's what I heard. I'm not afraid to go on record from what I've discussed. I've been on record several times telling they was trying to get that man 60-40 when others was up here, you know, acting like, you know, it was 70-30. And I say, no, it's 60-40. And then they were wondering like, okay, if it's 60-40, why don't he take it? Because he don't want it. Y'all don't want up here, you know, thinking it's 70-30 and they negotiate for 60-40. No, he wasn't never trying to take no 60-40. And then it's 55-45, you know, come on deck, and people ran with it. And you haven't even heard anything else about no 55-45, bro. Nothing. He was all over the place this weekend, Dion. I ain't gonna lie. He was all over the place, bro.
Yeah, man. It just hurt me, man, because this is a sport that I really love, and we not getting the best fighting the best from the men. We're not. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Mag Sayer shouldn't even been in there with Ray Vargas last night.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Hell yeah. Because we had to see it for what it was, that Dion, because people couldn't understand that Gary Russell potentially could, you know, absolutely won that fight with one arm. People didn't want to believe that because they was riding Hao, Maxayo. They was riding Hao for him, but he really didn't do anything against Russell, and he's pretty much exemplified the same type of damn performance against a guy who can box and was game to, you know, stay in the pocket with him. You know, Pac's on the outside when he need to box, pop the jab, you know, let his hands go when he's closing distance. I mean, it wasn't the most technically sound fight from either one of them, but I believe Vargas was active enough to scoop the title. And Maxayo, I remember Andrew saying in the chat, he mentioned he don't think that Maxayo has another gear, and he was right. He didn't have another gear, bro. He only had one freaking gear. He kept on doing the same thing, looking for the right hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but not to discredit a certain trainer, but don't all his fighters kind of have that similar style?
I know what you're talking about. All his fighters don't lose. You know, like, I don't know the percentage of his fighters. Real talk. I don't know, bro. I don't know the percentage of his fighters that actually go in there and take that L on the first defense of their title. I don't know. But I know Masayo, he didn't look good. He missed so many times with the right hand. He was throwing it with conviction, and he did connect. You know what I'm saying? Even though I thought the cut was from a freaking right hand, it wasn't. It was from a headbutt. But he landed. You know, he ended up landing a shot. You know what I'm saying? He ended up landing a power shot to put Vargas down. And, you know, I was telling people it was only a matter of time because Vargas was holding his left hand down. he's being a little bit too loose in there. And after that knockdown, Masayo didn't do anything. He couldn't do anything because Masayo, he said, "Okay, you got me. That's the only thing I'm giving you. I'm up on the scorecard, so I'm just gonna continue to box you." He was overrated. Real talk. I don't know if G. Russell want to come back and get that, or we don't know what G. Russell's gonna do at the moment. But it'll be good for him to come back and fight Masayo just to right that lost and then keep it moving.
Yeah. I mean, because I just didn't, I didn't see that extra class that and what he needed to elevate to make the fight happen. I mean, to make what he needed to make happen in the fight.
What, Masayo?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't turn up. He was his entry, he was just coming straight down the lane, man. It was crazy. Like, I don't know, they trying to teach that over there in the Philippines or what. That was just coming from Freddie. But they was trying to use that rhythm and motion. And if you saw in the later round, like I was talking about how he would throw a combination, then he would go back and bounce on his feet a little bit, and then he'd pick and choose when he want to, line it up again to go down that lane. He was just going right down the center until every time he's in rhythm and he popped back on his feet, Vargas would pop his jab out there while he was doing that. You know what I'm saying? He just wouldn't let him get in rhythm, like it was some dance. He started popping his jab out there, making him think about, what he was doing. But overall, he didn't lose momentum, Vargas. He had very quick hands. He had very quick hands. He wasn't afraid to mix it up a little bit. It was some times in there where I have to credit his defense because Masayo threw that right hand a lot of times and he slipped underneath it. So I have to give Vargas his defense. I don't know how that's gonna hold up. Against a Brandon Figueroa or the next fighter he wants to fight. He didn't even mention Brandon Figueroa, man. That's the crazy part about it. He didn't even mention Brandon Figueroa as a fighter that he want to fight next. I know Brandon coming off that win over Castro. He was like, shit, I'm ready. I like the energy that Figueroa gave us in that fight. But we're going to see who Vargas get next, man. He want to unify. You know what I'm saying? He wants to unify. So we're going to see how that goes. What you think he should do next, man?
He has some options. I'll be honest with you. He has some options, on the side of the street part of it. But if he's gonna unify, that means a Leo. That means Leo. Leo is next if he's trying to unify.
Yeah, that's what he wants, Leo Santa Cruz. And a lot of people believe that'll be a good fight. I don't per se. I don't think it'll be a good fight because Leo Santa Cruz, man, he's at that point for a guy like an active fighter like Vargas to come over there and outwork him just like he did Masayo. Now, Leo Santa Cruz, he has these predictable little techniques that he have too. I just think Vargas at this point in time with his activity, he can go in there and outwork Leo Santa Cruz and scoop up that belt too. I really do. I think he can, bro. I really think he can.
Yeah, I mean, because I'll be honest with you, it's some names that I would love to see him fight, but I know those fights won't happen just because of the side of the street and all that.
Who would you be talking about though?
I would love to see him in there with Robisi.
Yeah. But Robisi,
I just think the styles would clash perfect.
Yeah, I agree. That hands down, both of them fight with their hands down a little bit. Both of them punch output is pretty good, but Robisi is still, climbing the ladder, so to speak. He's not even, in mention. You look at Robeisy Ramirez, he's not even, I'm not sure he even ranked in the top 10,
Well,
except one. I'm thinking about one sanctioning bodies, the WBA, I think. He's number 9.
Yep.
He might be outside the top 10 everywhere else and not even ranked.
Well, he's gonna move up that WBO, because in the WBO at the time of him knocking out Abraham Nova, he was like top 5. He was like number 4.
Yeah, Abraham was number 4. You're right. Yeah, so he definitely should move up because he stopped him. So he definitely should move up, and I think Robeisy has been on record as saying he want to fight Emmanuel Navarrete.
Now that'd be a crazy fight. That'd be a great fight.
Yeah, that'd be sick, man.
The Cuban Mexican rivalry. That'd be it.
But back to Spence them. I was listening to an interview that he recently had with Fight Hype, and he was saying how Spence would just basically in a way of a dogmatic way instruct his opponents to where he wants them to fight. You know what I'm saying? He has that much domineering effect to his style that he's just going to direct you. He's going to force you. He's going to influence his opponents. Hey, if I want to fight right here, get right here where I'm at. And then the question was that what happened, when Crawford uses the ring and uses movement? He pretty much asked a simple boxing question to a fighter that was sitting up there telling Errol Spence to be focused. You need to work on staying focused. And Derrick James didn't have a response to that. Like, he was totally clueless to it. I don't know if he just wanted to shut up about it, so he won't give out the game plan, because there's many ways on asking how's a fighter going to do this, that, and the other, and the fight's not signed yet. So either one, he might know the fight's not signed, so he didn't want to talk about what would happen if they was in the ring. 2, he may potentially didn't freaking know, Dion. He might have actually didn't know what the fuck to do. You know what I'm saying? If Crawford was to box on the outside and use the ring and move around, use his movement, But overall, as a coach with 2 unified champions, I just think he should have basically rendered a more thorough answer than he did. It just made him look like he wasn't focused neither. You know what I'm saying? Because they never really had no close relationship from the inception of the training matrimony. They never had it. Spence didn't really want to work with Derrick. They went 3 years. You know what I'm saying? 3 whole years without having a conversation, bro. They never had a real conversation training 3 years. When they first started off. It's crazy, man. Like, I don't think they are a dynamic duo like people want to give them credit for.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. If they can pull off what they pulling off, it'll be hard not to give them trainer of the year, though.
Pull off what they pulling off? What do you mean? Like now, Mel Charlo is
as far as Derrick James' trainer resume. That's kind of what I mean for this year.
Yeah. I mean, Spence is still unified. He picked up another belt. He's unified. But for Mel Charlo, okay, he's undisputed. All right. It's all dependent on the observers on what percentage of credit they're willing to allot Derrick James for that fight going the way it did. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to eliminate Derrick James from, his corner instructions to Mel Charlo. It's hard to say he didn't tell him shit. It was just based off male physical attributes. I can't say that. So I will have to lean heavy on what are they looking at? You know what I'm saying? How are they gonna view this as far as Mel picking up the undisputed, Spence picking up the WBA title. The year ain't over yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we don't know. This fight isn't made between Spence and Crawford. I don't think people are gonna really be, whoever they are. I don't think they're gonna be looking at Derrick James for trainer of the year this year. I don't know, man.
I mean, long as I know one person better not get it, because he done lost all his fighters and his fighter lost. So long as they don't stuff him in there, we cool.
You talking about Reynoso? You talking about Reynoso?
Yeah, I'll let you name drop. I ain't gonna name drop.
Man, Reynoso, man, he has this popularity thing going on, and I'm not even gonna get into it because that's really, taking a detour off the topic. But yeah, I got you on that. I understand you, but you know how favoritism is in this boxing shit. You know how that goes.
It is. I just want the sport to be back where it needs to be, man. And I want everybody to be fairly compensated, for their time in the ring, because no matter what fight you get in there, you ain't gonna leave the same way that you got in there. So, but at the same time, the best needs to start fighting the best on a more frequent basis.
Mitch said, then Spence tell Jim Gray the fight will happen this year. Hey, check this out, Mitch. Fighters can continue to remediate the same verbiage. It doesn't mean anything when there's no action on top of it. What are we attaching to it? You know what I'm saying? What's attached to it? How do we say, okay, the information that they're talking about now is any different than the information that came out 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, even 2 months ago? It's really like no forward progress, man. They call it like producer notes. Producers, Stephen A. Smith and Max and all these guys who's on ESPN, a lot of when they rambling off that knowledge or those stats, a lot of that is producer notes that was written down that they've studied and went over and went over and went over. So when it comes time for them to break open that egg, they do it in a way that it makes them seem like they know what they're talking about, even though they have knowledge. I'm just saying, Spence is just saying the same thing that we heard before. It's gonna happen this year, and we need more than that right now. And now people are saying, "Oh, just be patient." I even said, just be patient, but I can't help but talk about it because the clickbaiters need to be held accountable. I mean, what's next? Direct us, lead us in the way that we should go. Masayo ain't shit. I thought he won the fight versus Gary though. Yeah, Gary's fighting one arm. I mean, official announcement, not from Spence. October's approaching. That's all we want to know there, Greg. We want to know if it's any closer than what it is. And we just need some type of concrete evidence, some type of new headlines rather than YouTube, the YTC clickbait that's going on out here. We tired of that. You know what I'm saying? We tired of snacking on that. You know what I'm saying? We need something that's gonna make our bellies full, not the damn Laffy Taffy. You know what I'm saying? We've been getting Laffy Taffy lately. we need something more, dog.
Yeah, we do, man, because we need a big fight this year. I mean, a mega fight this year. A
lot of people saying the mega fight, Dion, is going to be the one and only Canelo versus Triple G.
Man. No comment.
That's what they saying the mega fight going to be, bro. It's going to be goddamn the trilogy of all trilogies. Eddie Hearn say this fight is 10 times better than Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. That's what Eddie Hearn said. There's space in between the names of that fight. You know what I'm saying? It's not even close when it comes to the appraising value in the boxing community. He made it seem like, the boxing community are looking forward to seeing Canelo versus Triple G. Sir Senior on deck. What's good, Sir Senior? How was Spence going to do that to Bud when he couldn't control Porter like that? That's a good question, bro. That's a good question that we all want to know, man. How's he going to do it? You know, everything that we know has been said on this fight, but I know Spence was pretty much dreading being on deck for one of his fighters and not being asked about Terrence Crawford. And the same thing he said with Jim Gray, you know, it's pretty much what we done heard before, man. The fight gonna happen this year. You know, people want to put a percentage to it, 100%. You know, Terrence Crawford feel is comfortable to soothe the fans with that. 100% the fight gonna happen, this, that, and the other. But we're not hearing anything else on top of that, man. So I don't know what to think anymore. I say I wasn't gonna talk about it as much, but I still want to talk about it. Just because there's still clickbaiters out here putting information, and all the information deals with Terrence Crawford. Yeah, all the information deal with Terrence. What Terrence Crawford they do it? Terrence Crawford do it. You know, Terrence Crawford. I mean, damn, bro. I don't know, man. The arrangement of the titles have changed now. You know, Terrence Crawford continued to be the topic. Dude, this is crazy.
Because that's what the people want to see, man. That's what the people want to see. I mean, I knew what pre-pandemic it was gonna get like this. I knew it was gonna be Joshua Wilder too. The waiting game, the back and forth, the finger pointing. You know, I just hope. Can I ask you a question? Do you think each fighter's legacy take a hit if the fight don't happen?
I don't. I'm not even being biased. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I just want your fair opinion on it.
I just don't think. You asked me about two fighters. You know, for me, I believe Errol Spence need Terrence Crawford more than Terrence Crawford need Errol Spence. We have to look at the assessment of what he's been able to accomplish this for in a single division versus, you know, Crawford, who is a three-weight champion. Though some people believe that what Errol Spence has done in the welterweight division pretty much emulates the value of Terrence Crawford at three-weight divisions. So they're trying to say, consolidate that all together. It doesn't matter what Bud Crawford did at Undisputed 140. They believe that Errol Spence has did just as much at welterweight division to have equal value with Terrence Crawford when it comes to legacy. I don't think so at all, man. There's no way you're going to get that okay from me. You know, Terrence Crawford said, I don't need you for my legacy. I absolutely agree. And the way I look at this, if the fight doesn't happen this year, I believe Terrence Crawford will, you know, press that elevator, go up one floor to 154, and potentially have another fight up there. Who that's with, I have no idea. I can't even really put my guess to who it might be in the forecast. For Errol Spence, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if he's gonna go up to 154, bro. I don't know, man. That's why they was trying out the nutritionist and everything. I don't think they really want to go up to 154. I don't think so, man. You know, because if you look at the interview back in 2020, right? Errol Spence, when it was him and Derrick James was having an interview in the gym, world class boxing gym, right? And Brian Custer was asking them some questions. They was having an interview, and he kind of asked Errol. He was like, you know, how many fights do you think you have left? And Errol Spence like 2, maybe 3, you know, fights remaining. That was back in 2020.
Yeah,
that was before they actually had a nutritionist that can keep him on weight. Now that they have dialed it in for the Udenis Ugas fight, I believe they may homestay just a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? Because if they don't fight Crawford, he can keep on, you know, keep up with those belts a little bit longer. Fight in AT&T Stadium, you know, still make a pretty decent paycheck. without vacating him and move up to 54. I'd be surprised. Real talk. I'd be surprised if he vacate the belts without fighting Crawford and move up to 54. I'd be surprised. Real talk. Let's see, Triple G and Canelo will gas out after 6 rounds. Both of these guys are flat-footed fighters. Hey, Sir Singh, why you ask, bro? You know what it is, man.
Yeah, pull up.
Why you asking me to pull up, bro? You a regular over here, man. Come on, man. Come on, bro. You shouldn't even have to ask that, man. You shouldn't have to ask that, bro.
Yeah, I'm trying to pace myself on this show too, because we gotta touch on Saturday when it's time too.
What you mean touch on Saturday?
You know we got Ryan this week.
And what we need to touch on is that
He better stop Fortuna early.
Need to comb his hair out a little bit. Are we sure he gonna make it to the fight?
Well, that too.
It's something about Fortuna, man. Even though I feel some type of way about Garcia. Hey, Sir Singh, you can click the link, bro. Even though I feel the way I feel about Ryan Garcia, I'm not gonna pick Javier Fortuna for that reason, because I seen him quit when I was in Texas for the Errol Spence and Carlos Ocampo. I seen him quit against Adrian Granados, man. You know what I'm saying? I seen him quit. For real. I seen that dude quit. He, they took him out on a stretcher, and then, people back there saying, he got off the stretcher. He was just fine. He was cool. I remember that day. Granados was giving him the work. And that dude, he quit, bro. So I wanted to be a good fight. I'm not picking either fighter over the other. We'll just see how it works, man. We'll see what Joe Goosen continue to work on with Ryan Garcia. We still saw some flaws in there against Emmanuel Tago. He got some work to do, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Smoke agreed with you. He say he believes that Ryan stops Fortuna. Wow.
I mean, you supposed to start Fortuna, but this is what I'm saying. You've been talking noise about Tank, been talking noise about Devin, you've been talking noise about all the guys that's really out here putting in work, getting it done. You need a stamp to put your presence in the 135-pound division, rather than just doing all this talking that you're doing. Yeah, Fortuna is known to lay down, but you need to come in like it. I'm gonna be disappointed if it go past 5.
Y'all know Fortuna has not been stopped since 2016. Y'all do know that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Dude haven't been stopped since 2016, bro. Yeah, I think Jason Sosa was the one who got that 11-round TKO of Fortuna. But he lost to Robert East on a split decision, which he didn't like, and a lot of us thought the fight was tight. And then, of course, the Joseph Diaz fight. You know what I'm saying? He went 12 rounds UD. I don't see Ryan Garcia stopping this dude, Smoke. I don't see it, dog. I don't see it, Smoke, dog. What's going on, Sir Singh? You on mute,
bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah, I had I'll be fishing, but
okay,
I know it's not
all right.
It ain't fish fry yet, but that's
how greasy get to it, though. I like the sweat top though, man. Where you get that at?
Oh, this from Bud before he's changing his company, but this was right before he changed his company. I ordered this.
Oh, cool. That's what's up, bro.
Yeah, we gotta respect the fighters we like, man.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got plenty of, Bud shirts when he was with Top Rank, and I need an update though. Real talk. What's going on, Smoke? What you got to say, Sir Senior? What's good?
Oh, most definitely. I was trying to figure out really how was he going to make Bud fight where he want him to fight at. Like, I understand why he just put that out there. Like, well, EJ makes people fight where they want him to fight. He didn't do that in his last couple fights. Even with Ugas, he didn't put Ugas where he wanted him to. He broke Ugas down because Ugas didn't come like he was ready to fight. So he was struggling with him at the very beginning. Like, he wasn't manhandling him and doing what he wanted. He just worked a good jab, and Ugas literally walked straight into it. Now, when he was fighting Porter, Porter did what he wanted to in that ring. If Porter didn't have that knockdown, Porter would have won that automatically. I mean, he got knocked down, and he still got a split decision. So I don't know where all this extra talk, like, this was not the best version of Spence I've seen. But I do want to say shout out to Earl and for keeping it real. Earl is out here keeping it real now. He told you blatantly, I don't want to die in the ring. I ain't trying to die in the ring. I got 3 kids. Respectfully, he thinking about his babies. He don't need to die in the ring. Don't go, balls to the wall, pause. Because you definitely got to pause when it's EJ. But respectfully. But
hey man,
you don't want to take it all the way there with Bud. He said he don't want to die in the ring. I feel him. If Bud hurt him, hey, throw that towel in. It's respect. Live to fight another day.
And that's exactly what needs to happen on the cautionary side of Derrick James, because when I say they both not focused, I'm just trying to understand what Derrick James even came up with that conclusion, because when it came to Danny Garcia, I mean, did he make Danny Garcia fight where he wanted him to fight? When it came to Sean Porter, definitely not. Then when it came to Danny Garcia, I mean, all those styles was flat-footed fighters who's willing to be right there for Errol to touch. You know what I'm saying? Your Dennis Ugas, he chose to try to stand in front. He was having success a little bit in there. He did. He had some success until the referee, halted him on the mouthpiece situation. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but I don't see where Derrick James was coming up with. If Errol Spence wants you to fight in a certain spot, that's where you're going to be. I definitely can't see that with Bud, because, he is one of the his distance gauging as a boxer is just A1 in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? He can stand right outside his opponent's range and be right there for the counter, without getting touched. Even though he was getting touched a little bit while he was at Orthodox against Kell Brook, he quickly made the change at the end of the third and started boxing the southpaw, and then he finished him up, put him in the bag in the fourth. I don't know, man. He's not focused on what he's saying, really. I mean, Derrick James is not focused, man.
I think he is focused. I think you just have a difference of opinion about what he sees and what you see, right? I think that Ugas was trying to move around, and I think Ugas is a guy who uses movement pretty well, uses his feet pretty well, and he was having success, not in this mouthpiece thing that you're talking about, but early in the fight, moving around. Errol Spence stopped all that movement. I think that's what he's talking about, not necessarily.
How did he stop it, though?
He stopped it by his body attack, and just his volume. Like, that's the thing. Like, Kell Brook was having success with his jab. His length gave him a problem, but Errol throws like double the punches, or damn near triple the punches of Kell Brook. Like, you're gonna have to fight. You can't just sit there and like figure it out because you're getting pot shotted. Like, that's not Errol's fight. Errol's coming to beat you the fuck up.
I just feel that he pretty much emulated the same work rate with Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's more than everybody. I don't know
what happened with your Dennis Ugas, bro. Like, he was having success against Errol Spence. I don't really think the body shots was what did it. I couldn't tell you what happened. It's almost like he just stopped.
Well, but I'm telling you,
successful.
I know it's because it's literally because what I'm saying I think happened. You're saying you don't think that's what happened, but that's really all it is. But I'm giving you a plausible reason as to why his hands stayed at home because he was getting fucked up to the body. Like, and what a body attack does is take your legs away and take the steam off your shots. So even though he was willing to trade, there wasn't as much power behind those shots because of what a body attack does. But if you're not willing to feel like that's like a plausible reason as to why Ugas became a stationary heavy bag, then yeah, maybe it's just because Ugas fucking sucks ass and it's flat-footed.
I just don't see, when it comes to deductive reasoning, I don't see all the evidence being there to formulate a conclusion like you're saying, because it just doesn't resonate across the board when it comes to his previous opponents. It doesn't resonate, bro. Like, look, check this out, Smoke. Check this out, bro. Danny Garcia. What looked worse? His motherfucking face, right? Okay, cool. We're talking about body shots now. We're talking about body shots. But the faces look fucked up for Danny Garcia. Not so much Sean Porter, not so much freaking Mikey Garcia. But your Dennis Ugas and Danny Garcia, their faces end up being fucked up. Why? Because they chose to stay there. Now, what you're probably going to tell me is it's because of the body shots that slow them down, and then Errol Spence, switch it up to going for the head, body head.
No, it's no, bro. Like, you're just only picking up two guys who had fucked up faces. I'm talking about Danny Garcia and Ugas fought two totally different types of fight, and both of them got the fight beat out of them. But it's not because one of them was a mover and one of them wasn't. I mean, both of them were movers and they became stationary. As a matter of fact, for me,
Danny's not a mover like that.
Exactly. I was only talking about stopping the movement, which is why I mentioned Ugas. You brought up Danny, who's not even a mover, and then start talking about their faces. But there's more guys who got fucked up faces.
You mentioning the body shot situation.
Correct. About Ugas, about stopping him, because you said you don't like, when has he made a guy fight when he wants him to fight? Right? When did he stop the move? First off, Sean Porter was trying to move, and he got beat the fuck up. What he did was try to like turn Earl, and Earl turned with him, and still convinced to beat him the fuck up.
You telling half of the story there, Smoke. It ain't no way you're gonna sit up here and say that Errol Spence was turning Sean Porter at will when it was actually the opposite.
No, I didn't.
Sean Porter was turning Errol Spence.
Correct. I got you. That's who I meant. That's what I was talking about. Sean Porter was the one trying to turn Spence. Sean Porter was the one trying to fight from the outside. He was trying to use lateral movement. Errol Spence would not let him.
He did not fight Errol Spence like he fought Danny Garcia, Smoke.
All right. Again, we're talking about what Errol Spence does to negate what you're doing, and to make you fight his fight. That's what the whole thing is. So in Danny Garcia, he was fighting on the outside against Sean Porter. He was brawling the guy. Against Ugas, he was brawling the guy. Against Mikey Garcia, he was fighting from the outside. Like Mike against Lamont Peterson, he was fighting from the outside and brawling with the guy at points. Right? He's just like, all he's talking about is when, like, it's not going to be easy. It is hard for you to dictate the terms of engagement with an Errol Spence. Because he's coming to that ass.
Absolutely, because Sean Porter dictated the rules. Sean Porter pretty much fought his fight with Errol Spence.
Did not.
You know why he did that, Smoke? Because Errol Spence said he was going to prove that he can fight Sean Porter's fight and defeat him. So if he wasn't fighting Sean Porter's fight, why was it a chest-to-chest, head-to-head matchup during that fight then? What were we watching?
I'll tell you what you're watching. You're watching Errol Spence beat Sean Porter at his own game, not fighting Sean Porter's fight. Sean Porter was trying to take rest. Sean Porter was trying to fight from the outside. Errol Spence kept coming forward, would not let this guy take rest. But like what we saw, the same Sean Porter we saw against Danny Garcia and against Ugas, he was trying to do that to Earl, and Earl would not let him do that.
Absolutely,
the same way Ugas. The same way that
Ugas, in this live chat is going to agree that Sean Porter fought Danny Garcia like he fought Spence.
He was trying. I got it. He was trying to. Spence would not allow him to.
I disagree. I disagree. I can't even say
that's
I
what
agree.
Derek James is talking about.
I absolutely
get it,
disagree.
But that's what I saw, and that's why I understand what Derek James is talking about.
Yeah, you can understand what he's talking about, but I feel that he wasn't even near being on track with the previous performance that Errol Spence has put in to say that he dictates, where Errol Spence dictates where he wants opponents to be. I'm like, what? He didn't dictate shit when it came to Sean Porter. That's why it was a split decision. You're trying to prove to the audience, the listeners, that Errol Spence fought his fight, which doesn't make any sense when it comes to Derek James saying If he want to fight you there, he's gonna make you fight. Okay, don't you have to make somebody do something when it comes down to your style? You're implementing and you're making that applicable to the fighting style that you choose against that opponent, right? That's what Derrick James is saying. He was dictating, he's authoritating his opponent to fight where he want to. But how's that interplay when he was fighting Sean Porter's fight? How is that relevant?
Again,
it makes no sense how that's relevant.
Again, you first off, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just telling you what I saw, right? And if you saw something different, cool. If the people in the chat saw something different, cool. I'm just telling you what I saw. What I saw was not him fighting Sean Porter's fight. I saw him beating Sean Porter at his own game. That is to come forward and to be rough. Sean Porter was trying to be slick with it and try to do that outside stuff that we saw him do against Ugas and against Danny Garcia. But Errol Spence would not allow him to do that. He forced him to fight when Sean Porter did not want to fight. Even when Sean Porter was able to turn him and try to still fight from the distance, Errol Spence closed the gap and made that dude fight. And
so if he made him fight, the fight shouldn't have been close as it was for a split decision then. Take away the knockdown. If Errol Spence was up here dictating all that, the fight shouldn't have been closer because to your narrative, Errol Spence.
Why shouldn't it have been close?
Look, Errol Spence authoritative boxing style, he was just pretty much always in control the entire fight, and it shouldn't have been close.
No, not if you beating Sean Porter's own game. Like, of course, that's Sean Porter's game. Like, Sean Porter is a brawler, so he's trying to out brawl the brawler. Of course, that's good. Like, why wouldn't that be close? It's like if Errol Spence goes in there, if Errol Spence goes in there and tries to outbox Errol Spence, I mean, if he goes in there and try to outbox fucking Bud, I don't know. It could be close. I mean, Bud could still win. I think Bud would win that fight if it was just like try to fight from the outside, but it still could be close.
Man, there's not too much of a difference between Sean Porter forward aggression and Errol Spence forward aggression when it comes down to it.
Yeah, and
I
agree
with that. Errol Spence has been on record as saying that he wanted to prove a point that he can fight Sean Porter style.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hold on for a second, Smoke.
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, I'm disagreeing with you. That's all. I'm
What's
saying,
going on, Zoe? This is the first time I've seen you. Who's this? What's going on? What's good?
How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
No, I just want to tap in with your show. I do tune in and look at your show, and I seen you was talking about one of my favorite topics. Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford. Like I said before, I think that a lot of people, I don't, and not to disagree or be callous to what the gentleman is saying, that Errol Spence made, Sean Porter, like I said, this fight, and I'm hoping that if Al Heyman and boxing, if the money, if what's true, that they want more money than what's out there, that boxing will take the L, to make this fight. That we need to make this fight for fans and not necessarily make a big profit. Hopefully they will do this for the fans and just take this L. But like I said before, man, I think that as far as dimensions, as far as athleticism, and really even as far as the Robbie Garcia fight, even though, like I said, Errol Spence did end up beating up Robert Garcia. If you look at the first couple rounds of that fight, I think that if Robert Garcia was a true 145-pounder, about 5'9", 5'10", with a longer reach, he would have gave Errol a lot of problems with his boxing. Errol Spence did look a little awkward, having to deal with somebody that could give him angles and make him miss and can get him off balance. So, like I said, I think that I really want to see this fight, man. I really want to see this fight. And, I really want to see Errol be able to deal with somebody that can give him elite boxing that can also match his athleticism. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of guys with Ugas and Lamont Peterson, them guys stood right in front of him. They stood right in front of him. They gave him that type of style feeds right into Errol Spence's strengths. But he hasn't been there with guys that has the that has the pedigree of a Terrence Crawford. We haven't seen that. I mean, I don't know why why people try to minimize it, but we just haven't seen him in there with somebody that has been cool and has been to the boxing school, such as Terrence Crawford. So that's all I really wanted to say. Just, add that in.
You heard what me and Smoke was having a dialogue about.
Right, exactly.
What's your opinion? What's your opinion on what was said? Your non-biased opinion.
Well, see, the thing about, like I said, I don't really understand how you could say that he beat, because again, Sean Porter, again, that's Errol Spence fighting somebody like Sean Porter that has I don't know if I can say elite athleticism, but he has a certain amount of athleticism that's at the top of the game at the 145 weight pound division. And like I said before, that was a close fight. Like I said, if it wasn't for the knockdown, that was a fight that could have went either way. So, I mean, to say that, Errol Spence he was able to force his will on Sean Porter, but the fight really only came down to that knockdown in the 12th round. I don't think that that's really true of that fight. You know what I'm saying? When you go back and look at it, I don't think that that's true.
So what I was asking, Mo, Zoe, and what I was asking really, the way that dialogue began is just, me highlighting that Derrick James wasn't focused in his comments. His comments was pretty much saying that Errol Spence, if he wants his opponent to fight at a certain spot in the ring, if he want him to be somewhere, he would pretty much give him that RSVP. He'll give him the hallmark card. Hey, this is where you need to be, right here in the ring. If he don't come, he'll make sure his opponents get there. He was trying to say he has that authority with his boxing skill set to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? He pretty much has that domineering effect inside the square to make it happen. I just didn't see it. Like he didn't have to make Lamont Peterson, be right there. Lamont Peterson chose to get the high guard, hang out on the ropes, get his ass beat. Shout out to Lamont Peterson, good guy. But we all seen what happened with Carlos Ocampo. We all seen what happened with Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia stood right there. He was trying to throw down, but he was pretty much an easy target for Errol Spence to keep on landing on. Sean Porter, he went in there and fought Sean Porter's fight.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like if you really look at the first couple of rounds, like I said before, Mikey Garcia was able to make he was able to make Errol miss here and there and get him off balance. But like I said, at the end of the day, that's somebody that you don't have the same amount of athleticism, and you don't have the same amount of reach to able to deal with that person. So okay, now I have to go and stand in front of you and have to take risks to get to you. So like I said, like you said, I've never seen, like I said, those guys chose to do that. But I'm saying somebody that can possibly download your timing, because like I said, Errol Spence is not going there throwing feints. To me, he doesn't have a lot of layers. He doesn't have as many layers. But like I said, I understand what you're saying. Those guys chose to stand in front of him, chose to make themselves target, especially with Lamont Peterson, and bang it out with him. Let's see a guy that can go.
He banged it out with Kell Brook too. That's
Both
what
of
I'm trying to see, this dictation. Like he banged it out with Kell Brook too. He didn't have to dictate anything. He was just, both of these fighters was just boom right there, mano and mano, center line, going at it. And you made a very good point. I would agree that he doesn't have a lot of layers to, how he inflict his boxing technique on his opposition. He's just boom, boom, jab, jab. He get in close enough, he'll dig to the body.
I think we just see different things. Like he said, he doesn't feint. He uses foot feints, hand feints, head feint. Like Errol uses a lot of feints. Like we just don't see the same shit. Like I wasn't saying even Kell Brook wasn't trying to fight that kind of fight. Errol Spence forced that kind of fight out of Kell Brook. He totally dictated the pace of that fight. Kell Brook was just doing well at that pace for a while, but he couldn't actually keep up with it.
If Kell Brook didn't want to fight that fight, he showed enough was putting hands on Spence, and you can't say
and he also couldn't go the distance, and he also got a broken face for his efforts.
Yeah.
He also couldn't keep up with that pace.
Bring up the broken face.
And that's the other part of this whole thing. The other part of it is being able to not just match his pace, but keep up with it. can you sustain?
You
Because
can't,
that's just Spence
you
working.
can't give partial evidence, to
No,
basically
this is the whole evidence.
debate
I'm not
your
giving
point,
partial.
to argue your point. You can't give partial evidence. You know damn well it
I
was
mean,
under
I can get
9
the whole
months.
story if you don't
It
interrupt
was
me.
under 9 months, Smoke, before he moved down from 60 to 47.
And it was 10 months once he fought the next
Come
guy.
on, bro.
And then,
You just acting like
okay,
Errol
hold up a
did that
second.
shit on his own,
Okay,
and he
bro.
wasn't already a damaged fighter, bro.
Okay, great. So then, if he was already a damaged fighter, how come 10 months later, when he fought the next guy, he didn't get a broken face?
Dude, check this out though. Totally two different styles when it comes.
Oh, okay. So
down
now
to
it's a
it.
style thing, not a layover
I'm
thing.
just saying. Look. I'm pretty sure Kell Brook learned something from fighting Gennady Golovkin and getting his face broke on the right side, and fighting Errol Spence and getting his face broke on the left side. You know what I'm saying?
So he was able to. So he learned and figured out how to not get his face broke. That's like the new thing.
Hey, Smoke.
That's the new thing. All right, dude. He learned to train. He trained his
won all
eyesight.
3 fights in 154.
Okay,
Smoke.
I get you, bro. I get you.
His
Anyway,
first
first you brought up turnaround, but turns out the turnaround for his next fight after Errol Spence was the same.
He got his ass handed to him.
He had the same turnaround for his very next fight after Spence, but his eyes didn't get broke.
But
so then
you can't.
So why bring up
the level of opposition? The level of opposition wasn't.
So now it's the level of opposition thing. Okay, so great. So
yeah,
so now that is actually so great. You left out the level of opposition part.
Errol Spence was
great.
Both of them as long as opposition, bro.
So as long as you're willing to acknowledge there's a level of opposition you have to take into account when you talk about this turnaround, cool. We don't disagree. Errol's a bad man.
You're not saying that. I'm gonna let you go, Dion, but you're not gonna say the same thing that Spence pretty much forced Kell Brook to fight his fight when goddamn Gennady Golovkin broke his face up, and you didn't say Gennady did the same thing you're trying to imply that Errol Spence did.
I don't know what we're talking about. Derek James's comments.
I know, bro.
Derek James's comments. Like, what are you talking? Okay, hold up. With Derek James's comments, when he was talking about Errol Spence making you fight a fight that you want, how you can
I have to respond to. You're bringing up criteria that I have to respond to, because if Kell Brook got his face broken with Errol Spence, and your argument is he dictated that performance, he dictated that momentum. Well, what happened with Gennady Golovkin? His face was broken up on the right side. Did you say that Gennady Golovkin forced him to dictate? I mean, are you going to give Gennady Golovkin the credit for the same fighter? Okay, again, the reason why he got his face broke, I didn't say it was because of the pace. I said that the reason his body broke down. Again, what you will see before his face broke. It's not like Kell Brook was winning and then all of a sudden his face broke. What you saw was it started. Bro, like I'm trying to respond to what you're saying. Go ahead, man.
I'm trying to just finish my point.
You've been cutting off the whole time, Smoke.
I got it.
This man,
bro, and I've also let him speak. And also let him get his whole thought out. Yes, we both cut each other off, but now can I get my whole thought out? So here we go. If you notice, before the fight stopped, what you saw from the round before that and the round before that was a slow erosion of Kell Brook's efficacy. And it was because he was fighting the wrong fucking pace. He was good at the beginning. He started to deteriorate and fall behind Errol Spence before the stoppage. He got dropped before that, before his eye broke, and his output came down before the eye broke. Errol Spence wore that dude down, not just broke his eye.
But can I ask a gentleman one question? Now, you said that Errol Spence has a lot of layers to his game, but would you agree that like 80%, you know, he doesn't, 80% of his offense is not based on foot feints, head feints. It's not based on feints. It's just based on the same pace, the same timing, you know, the same jab, straight left, jab, left to the body, jab, left hook. You know, it's same right hooks. It's the same thing. I mean, I'm trying to understand where you said it's this whole array of tools that he has.
Right. So I didn't speak to a whole array of tools. I just spoke to we see different things from him, because you said you didn't see him feint, and I do see him feint. I wasn't saying like the guy has now a million fucking tools and I got to explain to every single tool. I'm like, just when it comes to the feint part, I see him doing with his feet, his hands, and his head. So we just don't see the same thing when it comes to what he's doing in the ring. Like that's.
But could we agree that 80 to 85% of the time he's fighting somebody, he doesn't use a lot of tools to set his punches up. It's the same pace of coming forward, the same pace of jab, the same jab,
No,
jab,
no, I
jab,
mean,
jab, jab.
I think it's a. I think there's. I think engagement. I don't mean to cut you off. Were you done?
No, continue.
Right. So I don't. So to me, there's more to having an effective offense than just throwing a
Right.
punch. Right. So it's like even his weight transition from offense to defense is how he sets up his punch. Like his catch and shoot is part of that whole thing. Is part of
Right.
his efficacy offensively. It's not just the fact that he disguises his attack by using his jab. But yeah, that is a huge part of his game is jabbing, like working behind the jab. Surely, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I would say that his jab is probably the best tool of his offense. But his defense is also part of that his offense too. And I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I was just saying that the dude used fucking foot feints. That's all. You said he don't use feints, and I see him use
I
feints.
don't see his entry, really being set up with foot feints a lot consistently through the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, he hasn't really stopped anybody in a while. So I'm just looking at all these. I'm trying to locate these foot feints in my mind, like how he just goes in through the front door. Either he's gonna try a headshot or he's gonna go to the body. It depending on who he in there with. Obviously, he goes to the head just as much as he's going to the body. But people are enamored with his body shots because they feel like it basically breaks down his opponent for him to do damage up top. I mean, he's a one-dimensional fighter to me. And I know that the inception of the conversation was based off what Derek James had mentioned. And I still believe that he's not even focused on, what he was actually talking about, because I just don't see the dictation. I just haven't seen it in this fight. For somebody to make a fighter fight their fight all the time, they should have more success. I mean, being that he's Errol Spence, he's supposed to be an elite fighter. Why isn't he getting these guys up out of there like that? And let's not let's not bring up Ugas, because the referee Lawrence Cole made sure that fight wasn't going to go the distance after he, zoomed in on the eye. You know what I'm saying? We don't seen fighters in there with way worse eyes than that, and they kept fighting. Jojo Diaz fight against Tevin Farmer, that shit was hanging down. He still was able to freaking fight. But it's boxing though. You know what I'm saying? This is bullshit ass boxing.
I mean, my man was in the hospital for 40 nights. He was in the hospital for 40 nights. What do you want? Like, you want to lose an eye? Just be chalking up the game?
I'm talking about the eye test, the way it looked. We've seen worse eyes look a certain way. I'm not saying the dude didn't take punishment. I just felt like he shut down after the mouthpiece situation. You know what I'm saying? Lawrence Cole basically gave him the command, and it seems like, Udenis Ugas really didn't keep that same energy for the rest of the fight, and Errol had his way with him. But people are gonna look at previous fights with Danny Garcia and Kell Brook, and they're gonna say Errol Spence is that guy. I just don't see him being that guy with Terrence Bud Crawford, because his style is much different. He has much more diversity when it comes to his portfolio, when it comes to his boxing skills. And Errol's gonna have problems with that.
So I got a question. How is Errol Spence stabbing footwork? That's what he does when he attacks with his feet. He does the classic stabbing footwork. How is his stabbing footwork that goes straight forward? He stabs, stand still, stab, do a half step back. When he consistently does that pattern, how is he going to be able to do that with a person like Terrence Crawford, who moves around even in the pocket? How is that going to be successful?
Are you who you designating that question to?
Anybody who can answer it. I'm trying to figure. I couldn't come up with it because I've been watching the fights. My daughter watched the fights. My wife has watched the fights, and neither one of them or all the boxing people I know, nobody has came up with the way how EJ is going to figure that out. So maybe you guys can.
Anybody can answer that, because you already know where I'm going with it. So anybody else, if they want to respond to it, go right ahead, bro.
No, I mean I don't see it. You know, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying that Terrence Crawford is the best at, you know, being able to download an opponent, but like I said, uh, Terrence Crawford has shown the ability to be able to time people. You know, has shown the ability to pick up your timing, to be able to know what the opponent's going to do and adjust to all of that. Like I said, and Errol Spence hasn't shown the layers to his game because everything is it's the same pace. It's the same. It's like I said, it's pretty much and people and I think with his camp, it's more about okay, we're going to outstrength him. You know, outstrength Terrence Crawford and use my pressure. But like I said, I think that Terrence Smart is too smart. Terrence Bud Crawford is too smart for that. I think so. You know, like I said, it's the same stab, come forward. You know, he 80%, 85% of his game is not built on foot feints and head feints and it's not built on that. It's just not built on that. You know, you got to be real.
Hey, Smoke dipped out the panel, but hey, check this out. You know, I'm in control of the panel. I know. I shout out to Mark Nash. I understand. I don't want nobody to think they know it's not no sense of um excessive lenience when it comes to having the dialogue. But what I don't want is to do what other people's done to me. And I know Sir Senior know about this, where they just mute you and kick you off the panel. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody know how to, not all of us when it comes to boxing debates is just gonna be quiet and stop talking. It's just not gonna happen like that ever. The only way to shut it down is to mute them and put them in the background. I just don't want that format. I just, the people who I have on the panel is what it is. If it's not rendering someone to turn up and pick up their tone, then it's not a good topic. And this, right, this is a pretty decent topic. It's bringing the energy, and that's what it should be. You know what I'm saying? It's some real good points that was made, in this situation. But I myself, I just don't understand what Derrick James was going with this dictation type shit. Like, who is he dictating? And if he's dictating, why can't he get him up out of there? You're instructing. You're an instructor. You're a professor. Goddamn Derrick James trying to say that Errol Spence is a professor. So how he wants the fight to carry forward the night, it's going to be totally up to him. I don't see it. I don't see it, bro. I don't see all this dictation and all that authority.
You done, Sky?
Yeah, I'm done, bro.
Okay, I ain't trying to cut y'all. I mean, EJ just got a style where he's just trying to overwhelm you and, just basically come forward. I think he needs to do a lot more head movement, because if you standing in front of a masterclass boxer with no head movement, no changing the angles, I feel like that's not a game plan for success. So that's just one thing I would like to see him do. And also, you in that fight, you will have to win the outside foot geography, because I really think that due to popular belief, I think Terrence would really fight him more orthodox than southpaw.
And that's what I was gonna say. Terrence does have the ability to switch to southpaw, but on the back end of your statement, you just said you believe he's gonna fight him in orthodox, and that'll be a wild, wild west type of deal right there, because a lot of us believe Terrence fights better in southpaw, but he can start off. He has started his fights in orthodox. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand that as well, but if you notice with Terrence, when he does go orthodox, when he does go southpaw, is to have his power hand up front. To have his right hand as his first line of defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Like you said, I don't see EJ being able to beat Terrence's feet. on the outside. I don't see him being able to do that, and he's going to need to do that to beat Terrence Crawford on the inside. He's going to be able to give him the right pressure to get what he wants off in a mid-range or an outside fight. If he can't stop Bud's feet on the outside, Bud being able to control the feet on the outside, when Bud switches, it's going to be a bad day for him. When Bud comes back, you know, in that transition, Bud's going to lay in shots. He don't just switch with no punches. He switches with a punch. And those punches slip in. If he gets tagged by any one of those significantly, Bud jumps on you. And I'll even say that even if Bud doesn't hurt EJ as bad as most people expect him to, it's going to look really, really bad. And that pausing that EJ does when he gets something that's confusing or if he gets stunned is going to be enough to be considered a good knockdown, or more importantly, more likely to stop the fight. Because Bud is one of the best finishers, if not the best finisher in boxing right now. So him hopping on him and throwing a bunch of punches and catching him with something and then hitting him with, he's a sharpshooter. He's going to hit the same spot 3-4 times. He do that, EJ's going to look bad. Even if EJ still ain't knocked out, he's going to be stumbling. He's going to be out of his mind. He's going to have to get himself back together. By then, the ref is already going to be waving. And that's a bad day for him. That's a bad day for him.
We all know, well, most of us agree that Bud is one of the best finishers, killers in the sport. And if he would have had Yordenis Ugas position that night when Errol Spence mouthpiece was freaking in the second row and people was kicking it around and kids was playing with it, it would have been a referee count. You know what I'm saying? The referee would have it would have been a whole different story. But Yordenis Ugas, he did try. But Lawrence Cole made it a point to, pause the action, which he has every right to do. You know what I'm saying? He can pick a time to pause the action. But more so, I thought the referee's supposed to wait to a break in the action rather than stop in the middle of the action. I just thought that would be it. But what's good, Sheldon? How you feeling, bro?
I'm all right, fellas. How y'all doing tonight?
What's up, bro?
We just having an educated conversation. That's all.
What you guys talking about?
Just what the topic with Errol Spence. Well, pretty much it started off Sheldon about Derrick James coming out saying that Errol Spence dictates his opponents where he wants to take the fight. If he wants to fight over here, the fight will be over there. If he wants to fight over there, he pretty much dictates where he wants his opponents to fight. That's what Derrick James was implying. And then when Fight Hype asked him about what happened when Terrence Crawford, uses the foot movement and move around on the outside and use the ring, and what's Errol Spence playing at that? And Derrick James just totally, didn't have a reply like we expected. He just seemed confused. He wasn't focused on a question like that. He could have been playing us all, though. You know what I'm saying? He could have just shut down on purpose.
But Derrick James is feeling himself right now. He's feeling real good. He got the undisputed champion at 154 pounds. He got the unified champion at 147 pounds. He got Frank Martin, who looked okay last night. He didn't look like no world beater in my opinion, but he looked okay. He looked good. He looked okay for a 15-fight fighter. He's feeling himself right now, but he omits the fact that, and this has been my sticking point since I've been talking about this fight. Yes, Bud has never fought anybody like EJ, but EJ ain't fought nobody like Crawford. None of those dudes that he's beat are anywhere close to Crawford. So we're gonna see. I think that He's very good at what he does. He has a basic style. He's flat-footed. He comes forward. He throws a lot of punches. But I don't think that's enough to deal with somebody who can fight forward, who can fight going backward. I've seen fight using lateral movement. I've seen him walk people into shots. I've seen him punch in between shots. I mean, this guy, he got a complete tool bag. So, I mean, it's a great fight. Somebody's going to have to impose their will on the other guy. But I think Bud just got too much for him. That's just my opinion on it.
What y'all think about what he said? What Sheldon said? I'll wait till y'all go, and then I'll give my opinion.
I mean, I agree with a lot of it. I mean, the style's gonna clash well. Just the in-fight adjustments, man. That's gonna be the difference.
I like
but
that.
I do agree with a lot of
adjustment.
stuff that he said he conveyed to the panel.
What about you, Sir Senior? You there? Okay, we'll wait till Sir Senior come back. I seen people in the chat talking about he ain't gonna Snack say he's not gonna give away the game plan. Okay, check this out. He won't be giving away any game plan because the fight haven't been signed yet, and that's just part of a scenario that was asked from the interviewer. That's just a part of the scenario. Like we can give scenario based hypotheticals all day long. That's not giving away the game plan. A fighter will tell you, okay, what if Terrence Crawford do this, and this? That doesn't mean that's how he's gonna come out and fight. That's just a scenario question based off what Derrick James said about Errol Spence dictating, and he can pretty much put a fighter whenever he wanted to fight at. That wasn't the game plan. What are you saying? That's not a game plan. That's just a response to the scenario that was given for Derrick James to give his opinion on it, being he's a boxing trainer. That's all I got from it. It's not a game plan, bro. You know what I'm saying? If Derrick James, that dude, I mean, he can talk his talk and say, well, this is what I believe Errol will do. He'll do this, this, and this. It's still not going to have any type of influence on the fight.
Well, to me, to be honest with you, at the end of the day, their plan is just going to be pressure. That's what it's going to be about. Pressure, cut off the ring pressure. Like I said, I'll be surprised if Errol Spence can has anything else besides this pressure. High guard, come straight forward, pressure. Cut the ring off, straight forward, pressure. Try to hurt you. That's all I can really see him doing. I haven't seen anything else. It's just pressure. Try to go to the body, jab, go to the body, pressure. That's all he got. I can see him doing.
And that uppercut is be there. Errol Spence want to come forward. That uppercut from Terrence Crawford. And Errol Spence does have uppercuts for fighters who are willing to just stand there in the high guard while he's going to the body to try to block those hooks to the body. Every now and then he will shoot that no-look uppercut with his left hand. He would shoot it straight up the middle like he did Dennis Ugas. But, I don't see that happening with Crawford. Crawford's just there in the high guard. I don't see that happening, man. I don't see him being complacent like that. I just feel that he's going to collect the data like he always do, and he make changes. He make changes effectively immediately. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of these fights, man. It's 1,000 scenarios. We're not giving away the game plan. We're just giving our opinion on what we believe that's gonna play out inside those ropes. That's all. Y'all been giving some real good feedback. You know what I'm saying? This is a conversation that's never gonna die. Even when the fight is official, if it is, it's only gonna be more and more scenarios. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely. My thing is I'm trying to figure out once Bud changes up and he hits him with something he's not expecting, what is EJ's game plan? It's too much for you to try to add a whole bunch of stuff in between just one fight. Like, you're not going to be able to just add something crazy go from 0 to 100 in one fight. You're not just gonna be able to be like, okay, well, I never did anything, but now I can switch up and change my tempo and speed and game plan 3-4 times. That's not going to happen. But what is EJ's plan for when he's starting to get countered? How is he going to mute the ability of being countered and him reading the timing? What is he going to do? Pressure does not work on somebody who fights off the back foot and loads up in their counters. What is your plan then?
Well, I heard that interview also, and he said something to the effect of, all that movement shit is not going to work. Well, it's been working so far, and
yeah, that's a fact.
I just don't understand his logic. How do you stop a flat-footed come forward volume function? You move. I got a phone call. I'll be back.
All right. And what he was saying, it's been working thus far. Yeah, man. It's like I said before, man. I don't know, man. I don't know where his mindset at. People can say that he was just, acting a certain way where he didn't want to get in detail. Because if he would have responded to the question, like, man, I can look at like 5 other trainers that would have responded to that question without even a problem. Even if they had a fight coming up, it wouldn't have mattered. Like I agree with Senior said. He pretty much said, you're not gonna sit up here and attach additions to your skill set in a short period of time like that. Especially if check this out. I always remember, I got some receipts. Check this out. This is check this out. Listen to this.
So EJ, let me ask you this. Why did you not want to train with them at the beginning? What was it?
Man, basically, stuck in my ways.
I don't have to go any further. Harold pretty much said in that interview back then, he's stuck in his ways, and even though certain things was there to help him, he still didn't want to do it. And it's hard to take stubbornness out of somebody who just want to do it their way, man. You know what I'm saying? Errol is that dude, man. He just want to really fight and do things his way. So
you can lead on the water, you can't make them drink.
Yeah, this was back in 2020. Now we in 22, July 2020. This was back in 2020 now. This was after the accident, and he's talking about certain things he just don't want to do. Let it play out.
I am like stuck in my ways, wanting to keep doing what I've been doing, and, just figure it out on my own. That's how I always been. That's how I am, even with strength training, strength conditioning, whatever. Once I get stuck doing something, I keep doing.
See, I mean, that's the way I look at it, dog. Like, come on, man. This is 2020, and he said that's the way he is. So it makes sense what was said about him switching it up and being open-minded to new things. No. He fights just like his mentality in this interview with Brian Custer. He just like doing what he want to do, even when it comes to strength and conditioning. He like doing what he want to do. You know what I'm saying? Not what Blu-ray want him to do, but what he wants to do. Shit. I'm just saying, dog. I'm just saying. Man, y'all can go. Jay Smith, I think TC should keep offsetting EJ. Make EJ miss like the postal fight and start fast. I'm pretty sure TC is gonna come in there and make an example out of Errol Spence, man. Just like he did Sean Porter. I believe he's gonna make an example out of Errol Spence. Because in my opinion, I've seen Terrence Crawford wrestle. I've seen him wrestling on multiple occasions. He does have that pedigree. I've seen this in person. I've seen him running football routes, playing football. And you might say to yourself, okay, what does this have to do with boxing? I just look at him as an all-around athlete when it comes down to it. That supersedes what I feel about Errol Spence when it comes to just ways that he can come together and change levels in a fight rather than Terrence Crawford. I just think Terrence Crawford overall athleticism is much more of an elevated state than Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way I feel. I know they throwing hands, but y'all got to understand they used to freaking congratulate and applaud Sean Porter for his athleticism all the freaking time. Now we at the point that he's dispersed Sean Porter the way he did. We need to give those same plaudits to freaking Terrence Crawford. Y'all sleep?
No, I'm right here, bro. I'm
listening.
Nah, we here, man. We let you cook, man. Smoke interrupted you so much, so shit, we gonna let you cook.
Exactly.
I know, man. Like I
that.
said, I know
real.
Dion. I ain't mean to cut you off because Dion, my dog, man. Like real talk, man. This dude, you know, when I be on the road, this dude be dropping me information about boxing matches. I ain't mean to cut you off, bro. It's all respect. You know that. But sometimes, you know, the YTC jungle, you got to go back and forth. And me, my the way I look at it, it's gonna die down enough time to the point where it won't wear all my patience. You know what I'm saying? I know Smoke. I've seen him in many panels. I wasn't too affected by. I know where y'all was going with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going against anything y'all saying, but I know I've been on some fucking panels, dog, where they quick to put you on mute and kick you off and say you ran. Now that's some hoe ass shit. Real talk. They'll kick you off the panel and say you ran off the panel in the middle of the conversation when they've been muting you the whole time and you can't say nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, nah, man. I just want to respect everybody because, like I said, you ain't got to let us on, and we all fans of the same sport. So yeah, we see everything different, but at the same time, I'm gonna let you get off, and then when you done and you recognize you done, I'm gonna let you have it.
Yeah. Shout out to the OG Blood Boxer, man. Shout out to OG Blood Boxing on deck.
Piece of all that, and it's just that Scott and I've been going at it back and forth for years at this point. Like, it may be new for other people, and it may be off-putting or jarring, and maybe you feel like I should give more respect or whatever. But this is how we interact.
I can say it's been so many panels I've seen Smoke in the fire. You know what I'm saying? I respect his engagement when it comes to boxing topics. You know what I'm saying? I didn't take it personally, not even close. But you know, I do respect the ones that's on the panel that did speak up about it, because a lot of people in the chat won't even speak up about anything. You know, they just be in the chat typing. So respect both ways for me. But yeah, like Smoke said, I've seen him on I don't know how many panels, man, going at the whole freaking panel talking boxing shit. So
yeah, I feel like our conversation started at DJeff's over the pandemic, and you know, it's just continued on to today. You know, the first time I remember is on the Speak Your Mind stuff. So I don't know. It has been what it is. I'm not. Again, I definitely want to hear the whole thought. So I feel like I'm not sure when you're done. I'm not trying to cut you off and cut your wisdom short. But yeah, I don't necessarily. I see different things, I guess, than what you guys are seeing, and I kind of I guess I synthesize the like what both fighters do well, like differently than what you guys, like how you guys are doing it. I think it'll be a bunch of situations where Bud looks good. I feel like there's a bunch of situations where Spence will look good. The reason I picked Spence, if you haven't figured that out, to win on points, because I just feel like both guys are going to be super up and prepared for this fight. It's the fight of their lives, and I don't think that either one of them is going to be stopped. Both of them are too big of dogs. I just don't see. I haven't seen any of them really like significantly hurt like that. So like the stoppage, I got to see that for me to like first. I can't just like predict. I got to see somebody do something like hurt them at least before I'm like, oh, one of these dudes don't stop the other one. So then it just becomes a thing about it's the work rate and the durability. I feel like you know, from what I see, Bud is going to be hitting Spence clean with counters often, right? But I think, and I'm making my prediction based on me thinking that Errol will be able to absorb that punishment. Not that it won't happen. I think the preparation that he's had over the years with both Charlos. If I feel like if he can take Charlo's shot, Jamel and Jamal's, then he should be able to take Bud's shot.
Which Charlo hits with the precision and power in both hands that Bud does?
Neither one. Again, it's not whether or not he's going to hit him clean. It's the ability to absorb the punishment. Like, I know Bud's gonna hit him clean. Like, Bud is a precision guy. He's a hell of a counter puncher. Like, of course he's gonna hit. Like, he's gonna be able to touch him. It's the issue is Errol Spence gonna have the same response that the other Bud opponents did, and it's vice versa. Like when Spence goes to the body, is Bud gonna have a different response than all of Spence's previous opponents? To me, that's the intrigue of the fight. Both of them represent the best opposition that either one has faced, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense to start talking about the other guys, right? Spence is better than those dudes. Bud is better than those dudes.
Well, arguably, I wouldn't say that, because Sean Porter is arguably right there with Spence because he got a split decision against him. I'm trying to remember Bud's last split decision.
No, I don't think Bud has had a split decision, but I do think that Errol is better than Porter. Like split decision or not split decision. I mean, that fight to me, like Porter was like, yeah, but Spence is better than Porter. He proved it in the fight.
What about the balance between fights when it comes to Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter? Do you weigh heavy on the BS that Kenny Porter was talking about, that he saw it in training, and knowing damn well if he saw it in training and he was getting $4+ million, he should have just said, you know what, he's not looking good in training, I'm not going to show up to the fight. Let's not show up. When you show up to the fight, you cancel out all of that nonsense talking about I saw it in training. Now I'm going to stop the fight and attempt to extract all the glorification that Terrence Crawford just did about being the first to stop Sean Porter. You know what I'm saying? It's BS. So my question to you is, being that Errol Spence went life and limb with this guy, and then Terrence Crawford went and stopped him in the fashion he did, do you feel that in itself, common opponents, that Terrence Crawford did it better?
Do I think he did it better? Yes. Do I think that what Kenny Porter said was do I think that Kenny Porter was disingenuous in his comments? No, but I'm not really like that. It doesn't really matter. I don't cherry pick stuff and I don't judge guys like that. If it doesn't seem like a lie, I don't just think it's a lie. But yeah, I think Bud fought a brilliant fight. Like one of the huge and we were talking about this the other day. Like one of the glaring holes I see in Derek James's game is pre-fight strategy. I think in 2 fights, I've seen Errol Spence come in with some, pretty dumbass fucking strategies, in my opinion. And that was against Mikey Garcia trying to outbox that guy, and and Sean Porter trying to brawl with that guy. To me, that don't make any fucking sense. Bud took the Porter fight really fucking well. He boxed beautifully, but also had a really good strategy.
So do you agree that Bud just manhandled Sean Porter at times, where he just pushed him across the ring when Sean Porter was trying to get his off?
Yeah, I mean, but that's again a stylistic thing. That's just how Bud handled it. How Errol Spence handled it. Instead of pushing him off, he hit him with a fucking 5-piece. But Bud is more of a clincher than Spence is.
But how do you see him boxing on the inside? Because this not a question just directed at you, Smoke, but it's more so how people believe that Sean Porter heading into that fight with Terrence Crawford, that if he chose to fight Porter on the inside, Bud was going to get knocked out. That's what they were saying. But every time they was in the clinch, Sean Porter didn't come close to even landing any dangerous, effective punches on the inside. And Crawford seemed like he was stronger opponent while they was in the clinch. Vice what I seen when Errol Spence was in close and in the clinch with Sean Porter.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Sean Porter. One of the reasons why is the way he collapses the pocket, and then also how he smothers his work. Like, Sean Porter is far less effective an inside fighter, in my opinion, than Errol Spence is. Even though Sean Porter's bread and butter is collapsing this with those short arms and the short dude, but I think the reason why he's lost his big fights is because he's not that effective from the distance that he needs to fight at. Like, Errol Spence is way more effective from the distance. And not only that, but he also has a better body attack. He has a better head attack. He just, I don't know. Porter's good. It's not like he's not. It's just, but he uses athleticism mostly to break the pocket, not working behind the jab and working the body and stuff.
Hey, y'all jump in when you get in, man.
Yeah, I mean, Smoke makes some great points. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't get where people think that Crawford is gonna run up in there and try to fight this guy on the inside when he knows that's one of Errol's best attributes. I have to tend to give Crawford a little bit more credit than that as far as boxing IQ goes. If you do something very well, that's going to be one of the things I'm going to try to take away. I'm not going to allow you to do that, or try not to allow you to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go inside with an inside guy. I'm going to keep it at distance, mid-range, or keep it on the outside, and then when you come to me, because really the best thing you do is inside fight, I'm going to have something waiting on you. I mean, this is all boxing 101. I mean, but if it's something that you want to push, or if it's the way that somebody feels, I can't argue with that. That's what they think is going to happen. I don't see it happen because I've had 39 fights to watch, and I've never seen that happen. So, I mean, he fought a little bit on the inside with Mean Machine, and we know how that turned out. He had to fight a little bit on the inside with Benavidez, and we know how that turned out. So, I mean,
Mr. Moore, I didn't mean to cut you off. You done?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I want to ask you a question. Do you think Green Machine dropped him?
Yeah.
Also think Ugas dropped Spence.
Yeah, I do too. I do. I think both of them dropped. Yeah, and that's the other thing is, in those situations, both of those guys' recovery was exemplary. Like, those are two different dudes. Like, I don't know. Yeah. So, what do you think of Bud saying that he's going to stand in front of Spence and trade?
I think that's a good plan.
I think Bud is capping.
I don't.
I think it's a good plan to start off with, to get EJ turned all the way in, because EJ comes, he's meat and potatoes, he goes one force. So if he gets EJ to commit to that one force up front and then move to the back foot and start fighting him off the back foot, then that'll set him up for around a 3-4 round stoppage, like with Kell Brook. The difference is his, trying to figure him out in chess match will be just them throwing punches at each other instead of him trying to slip or set up a counter. EJ's not setting up counters. EJ is looking for a good punch and then, just pretty much just take you over with force. If he gets EJ to commit to that up front early, then that will set him up for the counters. He won't have to have a long fight. If he can't get EJ to fully commit all the way in, this is going to be a longer fight, because EJ understands this man hits you with counters. this man got good movement. He's going to switch on me. He's going to do things to change it up on me. I'm not going to be able to do what I want to and enforce my will. EJ's going to understand real soon that Bud has the longer reach. That's something he's been able to have on most of his opponents. He's been able to be bigger and stronger than his opponents. That's not going to be the situation here. He has a barely any height advantage, and he's under Bud with the reach. So with Bud being pretty much the same height and having the reach, and he's, as they call it, grown into the size, he's a strong dude. That is going to be something EJ is not going to expect. Every person, including Benavidez, says that you don't expect Bud to be as strong as he is. Even while you're fighting him, you don't expect it. And before you know it, all his strength has overwhelmed you and you don't understand it. Plus, he's a smart fighter. So that's what is the issue, that I don't think that EJ and his team is really looking at. You're not going to be able to use what you've normally been able to use to beat him. So you got to come up with something else. His jab is going to work some, but when Bud starts muting the jab, what do you have next outside of just strength? That is going to be a big problem. Going to the body on Bud body is solid. You're going to want to try to do something to confuse him and clip him. If you can't do that early, Bud is just going to figure you out. You got to hop on Bud, to take his outside foot. Anytime you take his outside foot and you hop on him quick and confuse him before he can figure out your mode, you're going to have your best wins. That's going to be your best win. Every time somebody's been able to do that in a fight, they've been able to get a strong hit on Bud, rock him, been able to try to hurt him or something, because Bud also does have that, you hit me, I'm going to get you back. Either I'm going to hit you 3 times or I'm going to hit you with 3 clean shots. They're going to have to work that immaculately early on, or it's going to be a short night.
That's a solid point. That's a solid point. I want to get the T20's comment right quick, because when it comes to Bud supporters, they always say that all we talk about is Bud is going to stop Spence. Bud is going to stop Spence, and they go the distance. So 20 asks, do anyone have Bud winning the fight on points? Of course, it's a high ratio that this fight will see the final bell. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? These are 2 elite fighters. You know what I'm saying? They're both on the pound for pound list, campaigning for quite some time right now as we know it. But my only thing is, which Spence do I consider the most dangerous? The one before the accident or after the accident? I consider the one before the accident the most dangerous, because he was still fighting at an elite level and fucking off doing fight in between fight camps, ballooning up in weight, and still going in there getting the job done. As of this Spence post accident, I just feel it's some neurological situations or psychological and physical damage that he still deals with, and they just trying to hope they're able to get past and he's able to continue to win. I don't think he's the same guy he was before the accident. From his speech, from his delay and reaction, and I'm not hating on Spence either. Everybody can see it from his interviews and everything else. Him laughing at something is not funny. I just don't see him being the same fighter, even when the Ugas fight. A lot of people call Ugas a mediocre fighter, but yet Ugas was landing some damn good shots on Spence before Spence gained the momentum and closed it down. So I do feel that Terrence Bud Crawford will stop Spence. I do. I feel it, but I'm not saying it's impossible to go the distance. I'm not saying that.
So, but he's asking if you were picking Bud to win on points. I mean, do you see Bud?
I know. Excuse me?
Do you see Bud winning on points? Can you, if it went to the final bell, who do you think that would favor? Do you feel like it would favor Spence if it went to the final bell, or Bud?
When it goes to points, and just straight up boxing, it becomes interesting. You know what I'm saying? It becomes interesting who makes the better adjustments throughout the fight. And that's when it becomes one of those 50-50 situations. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to admit that Bud Crawford's technique, he has his way of taking over a fight. And Errol Spence has his way of keeping his momentum with his volume of punches. You know, one thing we can say about Spence is that when he gets hit, he definitely try to turn up. But the bad thing about that, the same thing we can say about Crawford. When he gets touched, he try to get it back immediately. So winning on points for both fighters, yeah, it's a possibility. But in my opinion, with the Spence we're dealing with now, in my opinion, I just feel like Terrence Crawford overall is better. And I believe he can win on points. I believe he's a much smarter fighter, in my opinion. You know, he has much more layers to his game. And but I feel that he can stop Errol Spence if they link up the first fight. I don't think it's going the distance.
Did you have Ugas beating Porter?
I thought it was a close fight. I just felt like Ugas took time off when he should have been punching, because we already know that's Sean Porter was the champ. So I just felt like Ugas took time off in that fight, even though he looked good. He took time off and put his hands up. He was like, "Come on, no, you're the challenger. You got to go after Porter. You got to go take the belt." And that's why I felt he fucked up at. I felt that he should have continued the pressure, took a little bit more risk and made it work out to his benefit, but he didn't do it, so he lost.
Yeah.
And answer your question, no.
No, you didn't think Ugas beat him. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people, I don't know. I just try to.
He had more of a difficult time than I would have expected. Sean Porter, he had more of a difficult time, but you're talking about a guy who went the distance with Sebastian Formella. All I think about is hot marshmallows by Barnfire. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to Formella, bro.
Oh my God, man! Listen, I think it's a special ring of hell for boxing fans that's reserved for like watching Porter fights over and over, like Devin Alexander and Berto and fucking Kell Brook. Like that dude's fights. Like outside of the Spence fight, I don't think there's a single one I want to watch again. Even the Bud fight was like all right. Anyway. But it was mostly just Bud controlling fucking range and Porter working super hard and super stupid to break distance. I don't know, man. I like trying to extrapolate what's gonna happen from these fights. I just look at the fighter tendencies. I feel like it's gonna go the distance, and Bud is gonna get outworked in a really close one, right? That's just sort of me. It just it's the output. I think clean effective punches, they both land those things. I think effective aggression will probably go to Earl. I think the defense could be a wash, and the ring generalship could probably go to Bud. I would favor Bud in that category.
Excuse me if you don't mind me interjecting.
Yeah,
you said none of Sean Porter's fights were quality to you?
No, I was talking about like rewatching them. Like when did you thought about let me watch the Devin Alexander fight again or the Kell Brook fight again?
Well, I know I watched him and Thurman again, and also like him and Danny put on a great performance. If you want to be honest about it.
It's an okay fight. That was a pretty good one. And that was the one where I started to see a different style out of Porter, where he's tried to win from the outside and box. And yeah, anyway, I don't think he's that great at it. Like we saw in the Ugas fight, I thought that was a really close fight. And I agree with Scotty that it was the only reason why the result was the way it was because Ugas wasn't active enough. But yeah, I'm not really a fan of Sean Porter from the outside. The Danny Garcia fight was all right. It was all right.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, it's been a lot of shitting on Sean Porter, but at least he fought everybody.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that everybody can like universally agree is that like that dude's resume is probably the best at 47, win, lose, or draw than anybody's.
Hey, can I ask you a quick question?
Always, if you're talking to me.
Yeah. Okay. You remember? Are you familiar with the first Thomas Hearns Sugar Ray Leonard fight?
Yeah, the at 47.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a minute since I watched it, but yeah.
Now, do you remember? I wanted to ask you a question. Okay, in regards to, remember Tommy Hearns came forward for the first, 5.5 rounds.
Yeah, I
And,
remember the seesaw. Yeah, there's the boxing and then the brawl. That one. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'm with it.
So say for instance, what we know Errol Spence is going to do. Errol Spence comes forward. Terrence Crawford is able to walk Errol Spence into a shot. That there's a precision counter punch that lands on his chin. And he gets hurt. Could you see Errol Spence, having the box, and use the ring and use his feet? And use the jab?
Not so much, just because I mean, maybe. I feel like both of those guys, like Tommy Hearns, I mean, you get inside his power, he's like a kind of a different dude. He can box and all, but it's hard to, because I've seen Tommy Hearns' entire career, right? Like from that fight all the way to like James the Heat Kenshin fight and like Hagler fight. I feel like maybe Hagler Hearns is a little bit closer to this, but I feel like Bud is more durable and is not just going to sit there and trade. It's not just going to go for broke, go all or nothing, and like from the opening bell. Maybe it could have that seesaw back and forth thing, but I don't think so. I mean, maybe it could be. It seems to me that Errol Spence makes a decision to outbox somebody before the fight. Except with the Danny Garcia fight. Danny Garcia hit him with something hot. He was trying to make it his usual brawl, kind of contest. But Danny hit him with something hot, and he made a business decision. And he tried to, he basically fought Danny from the outside, not really trying to just work him and beat him up and break him down. He was just like kind of fighting from the outside and taking what Danny gave him. So, but I feel like if he did that, Bud is going to have more success. So I doubt that he would, even if it happened, it would be for long. That would be easier for Bud, in my opinion. Like, what you want is to collapse that pocket and make Bud throw those wide ass looping shots, and then beat him to the punch by throwing the straighter shots.
See, that's the issue, Smoke, because we know Errol throws a lot of punches, work rate. We hear the work rate term all the time, which is true. He has a high work rate. But you have a high work rate against guys who put their hands in their pocket, who just go into survival mode and trying to block shots and go into high guard and just shell up. You're not gonna throw that many punches when every time you open up, there's gonna be some hot shit coming back at you. So it's gonna be a different fight. I'm telling you, that's gonna be a big difference in the fight.
Yeah, that's what I agree with it. It's just that it's the dedicated body attack. And from Frank Martin, I saw it like last night. Like I saw what Derek James is teaching you is the fuck you up business, to break you down. Like he's not trying to the clean shots and specifically that straight left to the navel that Frank Martin was hitting him with. That's going to have an effect. Like Frank Martin doesn't have all that power, but he was able to slowly but surely make fucking Jackson Marinas less fucking mobile, not only make him throw fewer shots, but also take the sting and the poison out of those shots from stabbing him over and over again to the navel. That's just what happens. So even, it may, I think that Bud will have the other part of this, and we're saying we'll go to 12, right? Bud to me is a little bit of a late starter. And while he is figuring things out, the other guy is actually winning the rounds. If you but even in those circumstances, guys are not throwing like 50 and 60 punches. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like. It could look like Bud sees all the openings. He sees what he has to do. He sees the shot. He hits Errol with the shot. Errol can't fucking take the power, and Errol goes to sleep. That could definitely happen. It could definitely happen, right? Like, that's just like the mechanics of boxing. That's the science of it. But if Errol's able to take Bud's power, then what's plan B? Like all that shit, like hit him with something he don't see. Cool. He hits him with something he doesn't see, and he's able to eat that shot. Then what?
David Benavidez. The Benavidez fight. That
Jose?
was,
You mean Jose? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Jose, yeah. But yeah, that is what would, and that's why I say like it's hard for me to talk on going the full 12 rounds because of how Bud fights and how he handles opponents, plus how EJ is as a fighter. What EJ does great against other fighters is going to be his kryptonite against Bud. And that's the problem. That's really the biggest problem that I have with the fight is both of these guys got dog. Both of these guys get stronger or stay just as strong as long as they don't get tired, which both of these dudes don't really get tired. Bud gets less tired than EJ does. So I have to give that to Bud. Bud gets stronger and EJ gets stronger, or at least keep their same strength throughout the fight. So that right there, they're tied. They both got dog, and they're going to get back if you get something good off on them. So they're tied again. The issue is Bud changes levels and angles and abilities throughout the entire fight. Plus his counterpunching. Then the fact that he gets smarter throughout the fight. That is where EJ falls behind. And when somebody outthinks EJ, what can he do when he can't just bully him down? That is the bad night for EJ. And that's the part that I really don't want to see. When that part comes, I'm not going to turn off the fight because I got to watch it because we've been waiting so long for this fight. But I don't want to see EJ done like that because I know what's going to happen because I've been studying fights since I was like 2 years old. All types of fight, not just boxing, but martial arts, fights, street fights, period. And I already see what's going to happen. The only way EJ can beat Bud is to beat his ego. Get Bud's ego to help you fight Bud. So then it's you and Bud beating Bud. And I don't see him being able to do that the entire fight. And he's going to need to do that the entire fight.
So, my nightmare scenario, because these are like two of my favorite fighters. Like Bud is actually my favorite fighter. And what I don't want to see is the effects of the body shot. Like the reason, like you mentioned Jose Benavidez. Jose Benavidez is nowhere near the body puncher of Errol Spence. So in the 12th round, Bud was still had some sting on his fucking shots, and he still had his, he still had juice in his legs because he hadn't been banged to the body repeatedly for 12 rounds. And what I don't want to see is the effects of a really good and a successful body attack with Errol Spence, because by the 8th and 9th round, what if your legs are done and you don't have any more steam on your punches and you can't keep Errol off of you, you're gonna get beat the entire fuck up. And I don't want to see that happen to Bud. Like I am hoping that like basically they're on the same level and neither one of them is able to do to the other what they've been able to do to their previous opponents. Actually, I wouldn't be mad if he was able to, like, I wouldn't be mad if Bud could stop him early with some shot that came out of nowhere. Like an Amir Khan kind of thing. I wouldn't be, I mean, not actually Amir Khan kind of lay down, but like a Kell Brook kind of thing. I wouldn't be mad at that. Like, it's just kind of like, yeah, he figured you out. He hit you with something cool. You couldn't take the shot. Let's all go home. I wouldn't be mad about that at all. Like, I'm not afraid of that thing happening. Yeah, Bud don't really like. Yeah, if Bud stops Earl, I'm not really. I just don't want to see Bud get beat the fuck up. That's what my thing. And I want to see his eye broke and 40 days in the hospital and all this shit.
I hear a lot of people talking about Bud, their favorite fighter and everything, but yet they're not pulling for Bud when it comes to Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? It's just a little bit of collusion going on. But based off the report card of Terrence Crawford, he has all stoppages at welterweight. So a lot of boxing fans are looking at it like he has a higher percentage of going in there stopping Errol Spence when it comes down to it. And then other people are believing that Errol Spence has what it takes with his punch volume and his forward aggression, toughness, durability to go in there and make it a fight where he can potentially land that shot, or shots to break Bud down over a period of time. I don't see it because I just haven't seen Bud break down like that to the point where he's been vulnerable, especially at the welterweight division. He had his moments. Even with Jose Benavidez. He had his moments with Green Machine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he had his moments, bro, where fighters have touched him up, but it's boxing. I even seen him get touched down here in Atlanta by Brian Norman Jr. I'm not gonna go into detail. I'm just saying Brian came out the gate with a stick of dynamite in his hand, and he had Bud on wobbly legs for a minute, but that's all it was, because guess what? Bud would later go on to stop Sean Porter. This was in the lead up. He sparred, let me see, Richardson Hitchens, Brian Norman Jr., and
I heard
Tiger
that. I heard that story. World Combat. I heard that story.
Yeah, I was right there.
Oh, you were there. You were there.
I was right there ringside. And
so let me ask you this. So what I heard was he got stunned. He got dazed, and then after that, it was, oh shit. Am I far off?
I mean, he got touched more than once.
Right.
But when Norman came out the gate initially, that's what a lot of people, like the gym was, it was super crowded that day for some reason. And all those people that was there wasn't supposed to be there. So when he got, Brian Norman landed that shot and had him on wobbly legs, it's just like the gym was like, oh, like this was happening in front of us. This is Bud Crawford, who has a fight scheduled with Sean Porter. And he's in here fighting Richardson Hitchens first, Brian Norman Jr., then Tiger Johnson. Brian Norman is a different dude all the way through. He don't play, man. You get in there and spar with him, he's going to come in there and bring every bit of Kodiak that he has in his system. That's just the way he is. And he did hurt Bud for, a second. He did. And then there was some other shots he landed too. It was a good sparring session. You know what I'm saying? But Bud went in there and stopped Sean Porter after that. So I don't take anything from it except it was a damn good sparring session.
Yeah, that's the story. When I heard Brian Norman talk about it, he said basically the same thing. He said, "Yeah, I caught him. I caught him with a couple good shots, but after that, I saw that it was levels." Is the way he put it.
Well, Brian Norman was coming back from sparring Boots Ennis. Okay, right. He's they was talking about how they got very good work with Boots, and Boots was that dude. They gave him all the love, man. They say Boots is the real deal. And then for him to step in there with Terrence Crawford, I think they went 3 to 4 rounds, 4 minutes apiece. And it was nothing like the first. It was nothing like the first sparring session, Richardson Hitchens. He was playing around, talking to his coach. This is Crawford, talking to Hitchens' coach, just having a good old time. And then all along, you got this pit bull up there, walking back and forth, pacing, waiting for his turn to get in the ring. So, boom, he got in the ring. Ding, pow. It was that quick. It was that quick with Brian Norman. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no warm-up phase. It wasn't none. I just thought Crawford probably said, okay, we just going to move around a bit. We got a gym full of people. No. Brian was on a whole different time. But I don't look at it any different way because Crawford's a tough dude, man, like I said. He's a different individual, man. Sometimes you hurt people. It makes them even stronger. We seen Tito Trinidad drop several times. He get back up. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. I just feel that Crawford has what it takes to apply his boxing IQ and his physical strength, especially on the clinch, on the inside, and, to really work some different areas that Errol Spence haven't been able to explore this far in his career, especially in there with the fighter like Crawford. I'm not a Spence hater. I just feel, especially after the accident, he can't fuck with Bud. That's all.
Just like for me, it's a different thing. Like I used to think Spence would stop Bud, but I agree with you. He's not the same fighter since the accident. So now I just got to win on points.
I tell people now, we're talking about the Spence before the accident. This would be a whole different conversation and tone for me, because I feel like, all this hype that was going on with Errol Spence in the gym, and he was up here stopping people. Of course, the shit went on with him and Floyd Mayweather. I don't look too deep into it, but they say it was legit. It was real. And I thought it was real, no doubt about it. I never even second guessed that shit. So him being that dude that was fucking off and not taking it serious, but still winning, competing on a high level, if he would have been able to dial in a nutritionist and take the game serious, I think across the YTC, the conversation would be different. But now that he had the accident, and it seems like he's a bit more dilapidated heading into this fight, I think it's going to be some areas that that is pretty much shown in front of the boxing universe on how bad off he is from that accident. Seriously. Just like we seen Yordenis Ugas. That was another touch for people to see. Yordenis Ugas was landing some shots and Errol was stumbling all over the place. Imagine if that was Bud, man.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if it was Spence in the Green Machine fight. Like, it's kind of like, for me, like, and I wanted just to allude to this thing about like a guy being your favorite fighter and pulling for him. I think it's not that I'm not pulling for Bud. I'm just not picking Bud. Like it's like win, lose, or draw, I'm going to still be fucking with Bud. If Bud is the reason why this fight doesn't happen, I'm still going to be fucking with Bud. I don't care. Like Bud is still going to be my guy. I'm still going to watch every one of his fights, regardless of what happens in this fight. If he actually knocks out Spence, I will be cheering. I will be happy. Like, it's not like, yeah, the guy, I feel like he is like the prototypical fighter. And like the guy that I grew up with, like he's a, born again asshole, mean as fuck. Don't really, and also like he's my kind of guy outside of the ring where he's not really trying to bring a whole lot of attention to himself. He has his own life outside of boxing. When it comes to he's there to do his business, collect a paycheck, and fuck you the fuck up. Like that's like, I don't know what there is to not like about the guy. I think he is the most skilled and crafty fighter in the entire sport. I think he's the best fighter on earth. I just don't think he's the best welterweight on earth. That's all.
I think that just comes down to
nitpicking. How is he the best fighter on earth, but not the best welterweight on earth?
Well, it's the same way he's not the best junior middleweight on earth. The same way he's not the best middleweight on earth. The same way he's like the same way Canelo is one of the best fighters on earth, but he's not the best light heavyweight.
I just don't.
But you say he was the best fighter on earth.
Yeah,
not one.
Like I said the most skilled. Yes, all of that stuff. In all things, if you were just to say, like what can this do? Like fighting like being able to neutralize a guy, like all the skills that a boxer possesses from every active fighter, I think he is on top. Definitely. The problem with this whole fight is he is in his third weight class, right? And I think Errol Spence is in his first weight class. I think they both will go up 3 weight classes. It's just that Errol is in his first one, whereas Bud is in his last one.
So
I totally disagree.
Is this? Who do you think has a better chance of beating Bud, with Bud being the best skilled fighter on earth?
I think he's the second best welterweight.
Do you think Spence has a better chance of beating Bud or Charlo?
I think both of them beat Bud. I think his size is tapped out. And now you're talking about guys who are going to be competing. They're really good at what they do, but they're not as talented or as skilled as Bud. But they're both good at what they do, and they're going to be fighting at much higher weight classes. I think Bud is now punching above his weight with Spence and Charlo. I think he's punching above his weight.
So when he fights heavyweights and people all in between that and his weight class, and he's laying them out, he's not punching above his weight then?
Listen, if I thought Bud could fight heavyweights, then Bud would have taken the belt off of fucking who's your boy, just like Trevor Bryant. There's a reason why he's not fighting Better Beef. At a certain point, you're actually fighting above your weight class. Whatever the hell guy, like, you know, whatever guy you have in your gym that you work on, because both of these guys, you know, knock heavyweights the fuck out. But neither one of these guys would I pick in a actual heavyweight fight.
Well, there are levels, the heavyweight sparring partners and the ones that actually compete at a high level. They're levels, man. You know, they can go in there and defeat some guy that's weighing what a heavyweight is weighing, but still, when it comes down to skill set, you know, if you're on the elite level and you're fighting a sparring partner that's not even considered to be in the top 15 or even we're close to the top 30, yeah, he's going to perform like he's that guy in that position that no one cares about. Is the quality is not even close, but the weight is there. The beat on a heavy bag, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like you see these guys are like 5'10". Yeah, you see these guys are 5'10", 300 pounds, like moving around in there, like whatever.
I just can't process how someone can have the understanding of fighters the best technically. You know, you have all these plaudits for him, but yet when it comes to the same division, he doesn't hold that same hierarchy. It kind of makes no sense to me, Smoke, that you can give him the plaudits, but yet in the welterweight division, he's the second best. It's just asinine, bro.
Bro,
it makes no sense.
I'm trying to tell you, Lomachenko. I had Lomachenko like number 2 in the world. Like he was a lightweight, but I don't think I thought at that time the Tank would have knocked him the fuck out. I thought that Devin probably could have beat him, and Teofimo did beat him. And I don't even think I think Teofimo's a developing fighter. But Lomachenko is one of the most skilled guys out there. Just because you're the most skilled, don't mean that you can beat this guy who just is bigger than you. He's good enough at what he does. He's good enough at what he does, and has the attributes to offset what you do. That's all. That's all it takes.
You add favorite. When you add favorite, it pretty much, you know, eliminates the other factors that you can talk about. You said favorite.
And the best. He said he's the best. He said the best.
Yes, I thought he was the best. Yes, I thought that my number, like ever since what is it? Like 2017. Bud has been my favorite, actually before 2017, since the Gamboa fight, he's been my favorite fighter. But since 2017, I've had him the number 1 pound for pound. Other people had Canelo, other people had Lomachenko, right? But both of those guys, but I've had Bud the entire time. We've seen both of these guys lose, right? We saw Loma lose to a much less skilled fighter than himself.
No. Don't do that.
Okay.
Don't do that.
All right. If you like feel like Tio is as skilled as Lomachenko, then I'm not trying to argue your feelings. I really am not. I am just telling you what I see and the way that I break this thing down. Like I thought Lomachenko was one of the most skilled guys. I had him number 2 behind Terrence Crawford and in front of Canelo, but really because Canelo popped dirty. But I did think Loma is a skilled guy. And admittedly, of the 3 guys, I've seen Loma live. I haven't seen Bud live. I haven't seen Canelo live. But yeah, I thought Teofimo, I thought his footwork is good. I like his use of angles. I like his combination punches. Anyway, I thought the guy was pretty crafty in there, a pretty skilled guy.
Against okay competition, Smoke.
Yeah,
against
okay but Teofimo Lopez, I thought was a guy with glaring holes in his game. When in Teofimo Lopez, I see a person who is still developing as a fighter, where I see I see Loma as the finished product. I feel like he is a polished fighter. We know what he does. Tio, he still is working on his defense. He's still developing what his actual fighting style is. Even
I thought Gary Russell gave a good account of himself when he fought Lomachenko at featherweight. I really thought it was a close fight, and he I thought Gary Russell dropped Lomachenko in that fight. We definitely know Lomachenko was dropped against Jorge Linares. So I'm just not gathering the level competition that he faced outside of Masayoshi Nakatani and Richard Comey. You know what I'm saying? And Teofimo Lopez. Leading up to that point, I'm saying to myself, like, Lomachenko really haven't did anything. He fought for a vacant title against Gary Russell. All right, he won that. But we're talking. Didn't he fight for a vacant title? You know, I mean, he wasn't fighting champions right off the rip like that. He fought for a vacant title, and then as he continued to move up, his competition wasn't like, in my opinion, A-level competition. Like he's still up to this point, man, just overhyped to me. I was the one on record going for Teofimo Lopez when he stepped in there. It's just they took this damn two-tour Olympian and they always gave him the hype that he haven't pretty much worked for yet. He haven't earned it. He always had that luxury coming into professional boxing. And when Teofimo went in there and beat him, it just exposed who he wasn't. That's exactly what it did. It exposed who Lomachenko wasn't. Just when he got his ass sat down by Jorge Linares, we talking about a guy who all his losses are knockouts, but he sat Lomachenko down in the 6th.
Yep.
Right. So again, I don't like disagree with what you're saying. I was just talking about the idea of a skilled person versus a non-skilled person. I was like, you can be the more skilled guy, but if you're not big enough, then you're just not big enough. Right. But beyond that, like I agree. I think that Gary Russell Jr. Dropped him. I thought Gary Russell Jr. gave a pretty good account of himself, but I think Loma, like, you know, he won a gold medal at 132 pounds. We've never seen Gary Russell fight above 126. But even still, I think Loma probably, like, up until the Teofimo Lopez, I don't think anybody had a better resume at 135 than him.
No, let me get this one. Let me raise my hand. Let me get this one. What resume he got? He fought a Pedraza after Tank had already knocked him out. He fought an Anthony Corolla and a Luke Campbell. What resume is that?
Who the hell is Anthony Corolla?
All right. No. So what I would like to do, instead of like picking apart his resume, who do you think had a better resume than him going into the Teofimo Lopez fight?
Linares,
like with Luke Campbell and a bunch of guys you never heard of. He already beat Luke Campbell too. Like he beat the same guy.
Linares is a 3-division champion.
Thank you.
Linares has fought better competition than Lomachenko had.
Mr. Moore, I said at 35
were not that good.
But bro, I said
none of those guys were that good.
I said
and the other guy who was trash, and the guy who was trash beat his motherfucking ass in the second fight.
Right. So I said who had a better resume at 35. I wasn't talking about who had a better resume for their entire career, right? I was only talking about 135 in that division. Like who was competing in that division who had a better resume at 135 pounds than Lomachenko, right?
Okay. All right. You know. Okay. How do you want to look at it? Because when Lomachenko got those belts, he, like I said, he fought Luke Campbell, Anthony Corolla, and Linares. So who he really fought? At least Teofimo, he beat. He emphatically knocked out the Richard Comey. He emphatically he gave him a good showing of himself versus Masayoshi Nakatani. And we can say both of those guys, and we can say Comey and Nakatani way better than Anthony Corolla and Luke Campbell. Now we can easily say that.
But you can't say that either one were better than Pedraza, right? Or Linares. And that's the thing. Like Teofimo, I'm not saying that Teofimo had a bad resume. I'm just saying his resume wasn't better than Loma's at 35.
All right.
You said you had Lomachenko as number 2 behind Bud, right?
Yeah, on the pound for pound.
So you think that Lomachenko would beat Shakur Stevenson?
No, but I mean that was a couple years back. Like Shakur was at 126. I think Shakur beats I think Shakur beats Loma. But here's another thing. Like when it comes down to like the skills thing, like if we're just to talk about just not in their resumes or who they fought or anything like that, skills, mastery of craft kind of shit. Not only do I have Loma as one of the skilled guys, best skill guys in the sport, I also have Gary Russell Jr. as one of the best skill guys in the sport. Right. I also have Shakur as one of the best skill guys in the sport, just like skills kind of thing. But it's pound for pound list. They're pound for pound list. Like Shakur hadn't done anywhere near enough going into the Teofimo fight to be like a top 5 pound for pound guy at that point.
All I'm saying is this, bro. Lomachenko up until T.O., his best win was still a Rigondeaux that was 2 divisions down.
I mean, it depends. I mean, that's probably the most accomplished guy, right? Maybe. I mean, even that's hard to say. Even that's hard to say.
Rigondeaux that was 2 divisions down.
Now, I feel like at that point, Gary Russell Jr. is still the best win, but even both of those guys were undersized compared to Loma, in my view. And that's what I'm saying when it comes to the size thing. I saw the size problem with Gary Russell when he fought Loma. Like, it's not like Gary Russell Jr. was underskilled. Loma was fast as fuck. Sure, that gave Gary Russell Jr. problems, but it was his size really that gave him problems.
But Smoke, the definition of favorite.
I mean, guys that I like. I'm talking about guys that I like.
The definition of favorite is preferred before all others of the same kind. We're talking about boxing of the same kind. Yeah. How can Terrence Crawford be favorite, but yet you believe Errol Spence is going to beat him?
Oh, easy, because we're talking about who I like versus who I think can win a fight.
But why do you like him
regardless? Because like I already said, I think he's the quintessential boxer. I like him inside the ring and outside the ring. I love his fucking skill set. I love his temperament, and he's been whooping a whole lot of ass for a lot of time. I used to think that Bud would beat Spence. It wasn't until the Kell Brook fight when Spence beat Kell Brook. I was like, this is a big ass dude that hits hard as fuck and is punishing people, breaking their face. Like, this dude is just too fucking big. It ain't even about. It's not. Anyway. Like I said, if it just seems like
when you say that, Smoke.
If it turns out that Spence can't take Bud's power, because it's not like I don't think Bud will be able to land his power. It's not like I think that Bud, like Spence is some like brilliant boxer kind of thing. It's the same thing with Teofimo Lopez. It's not that Lomachenko wasn't able to be Lomachenko against him. It's just he didn't fight for half the fucking fight, and so the goddamn fight was over. And it can be. And I'm not even talking about the whys of it. I'm just saying I understand that Lomachenko can still have some success off Teofimo and to lose the fight.
All right, Smoke. This is all I'm saying is your last 3 sentences I just vehemently don't agree with. You said Lomachenko wasn't he just didn't fight half the fight. But it wasn't like Teofimo. He couldn't look like Lomachenko versus Teofimo. He had to let that young boy get that steam off. He didn't. Once T.O. got his steam off, that's when Lomachenko had a chance to be successful. He wasn't coming in starting fast like he did with everybody else. So that, in fact, he was not able to be himself.
I don't think that Loma's a fast starter for one. I don't even think Loma really fights for 12 rounds, really. Like those guys with the long, this is another thing, I'm just an observation of mine, and you guys can either agree or disagree with it. But those guys that have long amateur careers, they don't really make for very good, like 12 round, fight every minute of every round fighters. Like they take significant portions of fights off. And I feel like Loma does that shit all the time where he like, dances around, looks at you, takes pictures and all this shit and don't really throw shit. Like he does that all the fucking time. But in this particular fight, I felt like the reflexes and the size of Teofimo negated his ability to rally and to like ambush you. Like that fucking angle that he tries to use and like step around. Fuck, Teo was fast enough to turn with him and big enough and skilled enough to hurt, hit him with a body shot that made Loma super fucking cautious, right? But I'm just saying, like once Loma was like, you know what, I need to go for broke and do what I do. It's not like he wasn't able to have success against fucking Teo.
That was after he had already slowed down, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, I don't think we're saying different things. I'm just saying that the speed and the attributes and the length and the size of Loma is one of the things, and also the youth, like the stamina. Yeah, I'll give that part of too. The youth of him was part of that. Yeah, he had to let that boy go. The same thing with like Rolly and Tank, right? Just like you got a big, strong guy in front of you, in the first couple of rounds. You got to let him do his thing for a minute. Take him deep waters to drown him. That kind of concept.
All right, but I can't go that far, Smoke, just because you had to be Santa Claus to give Rolly more than one round in them few 6 rounds.
All right, so yours and my scorecard was the same, right? I don't know if you know but a lot of people so one of the judges had it 4-1 the way you and I saw it, right? And then another judge had it 3-2 3-2 Rolly, the same way another guy who comes on here who's just not here right now, the way he saw it. And it was like that kind of fight. It wasn't like the rounds weren't competitive. It's just I had Tank winning them. But it's also the same thing about just the difference between size and power and skill. Tank is way more Rolly shouldn't be in the same fucking ring with Tank when it comes to skills. But his size and his power made it competitive and interesting, and at least enough for the early rounds. And Rolly's fucking trash. Like Spence is not fucking trash. We can all agree that Spence ain't fucking trash.
Yeah, we can, but I'll be honest with you. Rolly and Loma be a tough fight because I don't think Loma could hit him with enough to keep him off of him. And if Rolly employ half of a Salido strategy, he might be in there to do something.
Yo,
those are the different dynamics.
Yo, I mean, what we saw from Salido was veteran shit. Like that dude was hitting. The ref was on the left, he'd hit him with the right. The ref was on the right, he'd hit him with the left. He'd step on his foot if the ref was on top of him. Like, man, he hit him with the ball. He hit him with the hips. He hit him with Rolly. It'll take that dude a decade to fucking become Orlando Salido if he could ever do it.
And that's why I said half.
Nah, man, I don't even know if is Rolly even I mean, he's mean as shit. I mean, listen, Rolly is an unorthodox guy. He might be able to. I don't know, man. Like what he did to Yigit was wrong. He was throwing that dude out. I think he suplexed the guy at one point. I don't know. Maybe he could cut that time in half. Rolly can brawl. He does come from a different discipline. Maybe he can become a bruiser like that. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, I'm just saying. But you're sort of making my point for me. Is that Rolly is big enough and strong enough to offset what the more skilled fighter does.
I mean, I keep hearing Smoke say that, but the thing is,
nothing that Tank did. That's like I'm saying.
The thing is, though, I don't think Spence is that much bigger than Crawford. You're acting like Spence is like 5'10", 160, and Crawford is 5'6", 140. He's not that much bigger than Crawford.
No, sure ain't.
It comes down to that thing. Like I think that Errol Spence will be able to compete at 160 pounds, reasonably well. He might be able to. Like I can foresee, right? Like, and this is, if I squint real tight and project what it'll look like at 160, I think he has the dimensions and the style and is good enough to become a titleist at 160. Whereas Bud, I just think that this is his optimal. Like this is the top of his optimal weight. At a certain point, he's gonna be like really, and he's kind of overachieving, even at 147. Like at 154, it'll be like Tank at 147.
Well, yeah, kind of, because he'll be a small 54 guy. I think his skill would have to get him through at 54.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like all those 54 guys. I think Bud, like if Bud fought Lubin, I think Bud would be the way more skilled guy, but Lubin is big as shit. So Lubin could knock him the fuck out. Like it's just big dude. That's it.
Yeah,
it's not about whether or not who's more skilled.
I agree with that. That part I agree with. I'm just saying that in this case, we're talking about Spence and Crawford. I don't see Spence just bullying them around and being the bigger. I don't see that. I just don't.
No, I'm not. That's not so much bully. It's the ability to absorb Bud's shit. That's really what it comes down to. Like, conversely, I think Spence will beat the shit out of fucking Lubin. Right? It's just kind of like it's like that. It's just kind of like it's a size.
I don't see that. I don't see Spence beating Lubin.
Putting stuff together for
I really don't see Spence beating Lubin.
Bro. Some of
I
the stuff
think Lubin will stop Spence.
that shit for conversation.
Yeah, I mean, like to me, what you would need to stop Spence is two things. You're gonna need a hell of a shot, which Lubin has, definitely, but some foot movement, right? And that's where Lubin is not that. Like he's first off, he's susceptible. You're talking about it, he's highly susceptible to fighting the other guy's fight. And yeah, he's there to fight you in the pocket. Like that's just anyway. Yeah, I think Spence beats up Lubin.
See, one thing we know about Spence, he cannot go in there and say he want to fight Bud's type of fight because Bud doesn't fight, the same way. Just like we know Spence to fight, so he can't go in there saying I'm gonna fight Bud's fight, and I'm gonna be much better than he is, at it. That's easy to say when you stand in mano, chest to chest, and you ready to bang it out. That's just not what Crawford does. He'll get in there periodically, and then he can box you on the outside. He has levels to his game, man. And Spence is gonna find that out. But like I said before, I'm just still a little bit bewildered when you say he's your favorite fighter, but yet you going for the op.
He didn't just say favorite. He said that he thinks he's the best fighter. Best fighter.
I just don't see any turning back from that, Smoke. You know what I'm saying? It's no turning back from that. Like if I say the favorite fighter, the best fighter, it's no other alternative, man. That's my guy. So only thing I present to you, Smoke, is just, come on over to Team Crawford, bro. Stop playing.
Yeah. Hey,
so Smoke, do you think that Bud beats Mayweather?
What was your question? Who you asking?
He said that does Bud beat Mayweather?
Does Bud beat Mayweather?
No. At 35, no. At 47, he knocks Floyd out.
Yeah, you got I don't. Yes, man. When I say Bud's my favorite fighter, I mean of active guys. Like he's special. He ain't that fucking special.
Spence active too.
I know. I'm saying. I feel you, bro. Like I'm telling you, I pick Spence. It's not that I like Spence more than Bud. I like Bud more than Spence. I just don't pick him to win. I like fucking. Listen, I like fucking Wilder more than I like Fury. I didn't pick Wilder to win. I don't think he can win the fight, bro. It has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not I like the guy.
I think you're trying to be the Riddler, bro. You're just trying to be the Riddler.
No, bro. I'm just not I don't cheerlead for these guys the way you do. All my heroes are dead, bro. My heroes are dead.
You want to challenge your listeners. You want to challenge your listeners
to
really dig deep and try to do troubleshooting methods when it comes to what you're saying.
I'm not saying that anybody needs to.
Is all we need, bro.
Listen, I'm not asking for anybody to have a nuanced view of the sport. You can have whatever view of the sport you want, of your fighters, of who you think can win and all this stuff. I'm just telling you, for like 40 plus in it, like my heroes are fucking dead or inactive. Like I'm not pom-pomming for these guys the same way that other people might. But it's not that I haven't done it before. It's just that like my pom-pom days are behind me. And these guys are not fucking Sweet Pea. They're not Muhammad Ali. Like, what do you want me to do? They're not Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm not getting my pom-poms out. My pom-poms are fucking retired. That's it. That's what I'm telling you. Like, for pom-poms, I got pom-poms for Bud, but not to the point where I'm going to, like, just think he can beat every fucking body that I don't think he can actually beat. Like,
well, I think that I would see Bud beating Mayweather before I see EJ beat Mayweather. And I've heard all the stories from different angles of the fight between Mayweather, the sparring match between Mayweather and EJ. And EJ got in the ring with Mayweather, and Mayweather still said Bud was better. So I'm just saying, like, that should tell you something. Then on top of that, it's just a simple fact of if a good fighter or a great fighter gets in the ring with somebody who they think is going to take it easy or they don't take them serious, that's how you get hurt. but I still see skill for skill, grit for grit, punch for punch, movement for movement. I see Bud having a better chance of beating Mayweather than EJ does. It just, I mean, I'm just being straightforward. I like EJ. I like EJ in almost any fight versus almost anyone around his weight class. I like EJ to beat them, except for Bud. Bud got everything EJ don't want to fight in the ring. That's not what he needs. I could see EJ even beating, one of the up and coming fighters. I can see EJ doing it, but him beating Bud or Bud Light, as people have called Boots, I don't know. That's a tough fight for him, but I see him beating Boots before I see him beating Bud. It's just because of the ring generalship and everything of him being a more well-seasoned fighter than Boots. But you don't want to wait too long on it.
And Boots may be the type of fighter that gets that step up and try to do the same, take the same mentality as Errol did, and trying to fight Errol's fight to prove he's better in that category. He can bang it out if he chooses to. You know what I'm saying? He can beat him at his own game. Or I could be totally wrong about Boots. I'm just saying, like, he's eager. He's still young. And, we young, we make those decisions that's not the best. Sometimes we want to prove to the older guy, the older fella, hey, I can do what you used to do, and I can use what you've been using and do it better. And I think Boots will try to go in there and outbox Spence and bang it out with him to show that he's that dude. But his resume is just still what it was. I really don't want to talk about Boots because he still got a lot to prove. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I just don't.
He has a lot to prove.
I just think the movement, Bud's movement, is just going to be, because if you look at the guy Spence fought, they all basically stood in front of him. Mikey.
See, you say that, but people just act like that conversation, that statement you just made.
And I can name them. I mean,
Bundu, language, man.
Mikey, Lamont Peterson, Danny, Sean, Ugas, Kell Brook, they all just stood there and tried to bang with the guy.
But we know that.
Crawford's not going to do that. Crawford's not going to do that. I don't care what he says. I don't care what clips, sound bites they put. Crawford's not going to do that because he's got too much of a boxing IQ to do that.
And his counterpunching is too high, man. His counterpunching, if he could mute his counterpunching, which it's impossible, but especially just to do it straight up in one fight. Ugas was the worst person for him to fight last and then go in there with Bud. Because it's a totally different animal. It's like fighting a house cat and then fighting a mountain lion.
Oh, don't forget now, the narrative is Ugas beat Bud in the amateurs.
I mean, it's a lot of people that have bragging rights in the amateurs. Professional career mirrored that,
No, that's what they say. That's what they say. That's the argument they give me all the time. Well, Ugas beat Bud in the amateurs. I'm like, that was 17 years ago, bro.
There's a dude who used to bully me when I was little. He couldn't see me in the last 20 years, respectfully. So that
20 summers ago, bro. Come on, man.
I'm saying, like, he hasn't been able to see. He couldn't see me the last 20 years of me, and I've been fat and out of shape a lot of them years. But my ability to fight is dramatically different. Like, my ability to fight has been dramatically different in the last 20 years compared to when I was 5 or 7. Like, let's be real. Somebody who you fought 10, 15, maybe even 20 years ago, and you've been steadily getting better, and they've pretty much peaked. That's a bad day. That's like Gary Russell fighting Bud. That
exactly.
That would have been the worst thing Gary Russell could have done in his life. He thought it was good because, you know, you can bully somebody and you can this and that and everything else. But that would have been the worst thing he could have ever done in his life is fighting Bud.
Only because it was 4 divisions. You know what I'm saying? Mikey came up too.
4 divisions.
Only because it was 4 divisions. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Like he needs some time to prep for a 4 division. You know, elevation. It just wouldn't have made no sense for G Russell. I'm not going against what you're saying, but I'm looking at it like in that short period of time. Okay, let's just say Crawford say, okay, cool, we'll fight. There's no way, man, he'll be able to pack on enough size to feel comfortable in that short period of time to step in there with Crawford, who's holding resident at 47. You know what I'm saying? As a pound for pound best, it would have been bad. It would have been real bad for Russell, man.
Really bad. Because you gotta step up your skill and be the best version of you, or the best version of you've ever been, or a version of you haven't been yet, plus all the weight. That is great. Like that's crazy. I know, I mean, David and Goliath happened, but that was with Jesus and a slingshot. I'm just saying, respectfully.
That's the same thing that happened we saw 2 months ago. You know, this guy is 5'7", and he thinks he's gonna go up to 175 pounds. And come on, dude. I told everybody that dude is too little. He gonna go up there and get his ass handed to him. He's too small.
But see, they wasn't saying that. You know, they really wasn't saying that about his other opposition when he went up there. I guess because Sergey Kovalov.
The drunk guy? You talking about the drunk guy who was 36 years old and just came out of a war with Anthony Yarde? You talking about that guy?
I'm not trying to bring the 12-step program into it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but you on the same sheet of music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and he was old too. But he was a
36,
champion.
just came out of an 11-round war where they both got dropped, and he had 10 weeks to train and a rehydration clause. You talking about that guy?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you know how people think, man. You know, they go up there, they fight a Kovalov, they stop him, they feel that they can dip up there again and fight a beast like freaking Bivol, and that shit ran out. But I guess he didn't get enough because, you know, Canelo's talking about returning back for a rematch after Gennady.
He will never. I'm telling you this right now, World Combat. He will never get in the ring with that dude again.
He's talking like he is.
He won't.
I hope he fights.
I hope he does. Honestly, I really hope he does. I want to see him get his ass kicked again.
Yeah.
I mean, Canelo is a master of setting fights. Now, one thing I'll say, if anybody, once they stop boxing, they should go into being a fight maker, is Canelo. Because he knows definitely how to set you up in a fight where you only got a couple of days and you got a hydration clause. And
so you're saying he's a contractual cherry picker?
Thank you. Most definitely. Yeah, put it like that.
Most definitely.
Put it like that. He's a contractual
because
cherry
when
picker.
you're in putting stipulations in the contract, that holds weight with cherry picking, bro. You want it your way or nothing at all. Like you want a specific way. That's cherry picking, man.
And then you wait till the last minute
fuck out your opponent,
and you set it up so it's perfectly set for you. Like, nah. You and then you have the ability to be on a drug, and they say that the level of the drug is whatever level you at when you show up to fight or to take the test. Wait a minute now. You can't.
They blamed it on the meat having a minimal level of clenbuterol in it, which would definitely show up in the testing of the fighter. So what they did was they blamed it on the meat. Whoever that cow was, they was already dead, so they couldn't be held accountable. So they said, okay, there's certain levels in this meat. We're gonna elevate the amount of clenbuterol you can test for. That basically saying you have to not only just eat one cow, you have to eat 2 cows to goddamn be proven guilty of testing positive for clenbuterol, not just the basic testing levels that Canelo was found for. You know what I'm saying? So the same thing happened with Oscar Valdez. They did the exact same thing for him, even though it's a different drug. They elevate the levels outside of the minimal. What they saying was the minimal levels that he tested. They elevated that, so he still fight. So Canelo, man,
In the same
what
gym.
it is. What now?
Don't forget that. In the same gym.
Yeah, in the same gym.
Boy,
Let's
they
not
got
forget
all that
about
pain
that.
meat.
Under the tutelage of Reynoso.
And it's funny to me that you're gonna tell me that all these boxers who gotta pay, well, you gotta pay a cab driver to fight you. Well, all these boxers where people say that to, where they gotta pay cab drivers and this person and that person and people talking junk to them, they can't eat tainted meat where they considered broke to somebody like Canelo. But Canelo was if not the top, one of the top people paid in boxing. He can't afford untainted meat.
Well, they were saying in the location from which he was consuming the meat, there was levels of clenbuterol, and I understand where they was going with it, because over there, you have to understand our food supply. If we just let these animals grow naturally, we'll starve. So they have to inject them with all these steroids and different chemicals so they can grow fast and everything and get slaughtered so they can continue to produce meat. And I think that's where they was going with the Canelo situation, that the meat over there is contaminated because they have to inject these damn animals with a certain type of levels of steroids so they can grow quickly and meet the damn requirements out here, the meat supply. I mean, we know that. We know that with chickens. We know all that with a lot, We know that shit.
I mean, we talk about a guy that's supposed to have 4 to 5 losses.
I mean, look at it this way, Dion. You don't get stronger when you go to Wendy's and you order a goddamn double burger with cheese.
I feel you.
I'm just saying, do you feel a sense of it? Like you don't feel better about yourself? Like you get out, it's like, shit, I can pick this car up, dog. You ain't never felt that way?
It wouldn't be no burger from Wendy's. But I
I'm
feel
just
what you're saying, though.
beef in general.
Yeah.
Burger King, Wendy's.
You mean run to the car maybe to get to a toilet? Pick up the car? Nah, bro.
I'm just saying, when it comes to beef, though, all this beef is contaminated to a point. It's just according to the way you eating it at. I mean, the food over there in Mexico, I ain't gonna lie, man, that shit is good.
Yeah, and then at the same time, it takes a long time to digest as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's in your system 3 times as much as what you ate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the math. I thought I was good at math, but according to them, if you eat meat that has a certain percentage, it's going to double and triple in your bloodstream just because you about to weigh in for a fight. So you got to have 3 times as much as what they tested the meat for.
Yeah, it was just them providing an alternative to help Canelo, get past, even though he was still suspended and it was retroactive back to when he was, his last fight, I guess. He was still able to meet the calendar, and step in there with Gennady for the rematch. He was still able to do it. I mean, it was transparent, bro.
The WBC is a Mexican-based company also. So like it would stand to reason that if that country has a problem with their meat, then that the other companies within that country would adjust their levels accordingly.
I think the WBC is out in Mexico for a reason.
Yep.
I mean, it's a reason why they're out there. It's a reason why he caters to the Mexican fighters, huh?
It's a privately owned company, like owned by Mexicans, right? Like Sulaiman's a Mexican dude.
But what I'm saying is, just because you're a Mexican dude doesn't mean your company has to be based out of Mexico. You know what I'm saying? When a lot of fighters that hold the WBC title is U.S. fighters too. So I just feel that he has shown distinct favoritism to these Mexican fighters like Canelo and Oscar Valdez blatantly to our face, man. You want to elevate the levels to appease the masses when they're absolutely wrong. They should be suspended and punished. I mean, that Oscar Valdez situation was uncalled for, unacceptable. It was distasteful to the sport, and he allowed that dude to continue to, to fight in his hometown with no repercussions, man. Didn't even get stripped of the title.
Hey, Scotty, do you know how the Suleimans got control of the WBC? Like, do they even have the controlling interest? Or are they just like voted in and they have a board kind of thing? Do you have any idea about the
Well, they have a governing body. You know what I'm saying?
I know they have a governing body, but the president can overrule that shit. But is it just his office, or is it because he's the majority shareholder? This is why he has that office.
I would think from his pops being in the game, he probably has majority shareholder. At this point, since his dad was once, was
the president before him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it seems like since it's a family business, you can't really like bequeath your job to your son, right? It sounds like you have like they have some kind of sway, definitely. I'm just wondering. It sounds like controlling interest. I'm not sure. And I was wondering,
nepotism happens all the time. There, Smoke.
Yeah, no, nepotism definitely happens, especially when you have controlling interest. That's what I'm saying. It's from what I'm looking at, from the outside looking in, it seems like they have a controlling interest. And I was wondering if you knew for sure if they did, and then also if they do, how they got it.
I don't get that too deep in Mauricio Suleiman, because he reminds me of a mob boss, man. You know what I'm saying? He's able to make the decisions, and no one questions.
Same thing.
Yeah, you don't want to wake up with a horse head in your bed.
I was about to say the same thing.
I mean, I don't know, man. That dude, he has some shit in the closet too, man. It haven't came out yet, but I know he does, man. It's just the shit he did with Oscar Valdez was just unacceptable in my opinion. And then how he treated Devin Haney with the belt, naming it the Pride belt and everything, when he has other titles which has the same value as Devin's in other weight classes, and he didn't name that the Pride belt. It was just he was trying too much, man, to just cater to certain individuals. He was fucking shit up, bro. Now he can't say anything because Devin, he did what he did. He had to come through all the cloud, smoke, the piss, and come from behind and win everything, with a fucked up contract. But Mauricio, he was trying his best to damn treat this dude like his belt didn't mean shit.
Fact. Shout out to Devin
Haney. Yeah, man. Shout out to him for making it happen through all the damn smoke and mirrors, man. Then Mauricio came out with the Freedom belt for the Charlos. If that ain't the most slavish type plantation belt I ever seen.
He had chains on it. I was like, what kind of Amistad give us free belt is this?
I
agree. For real, bro? But the Juneteenth belt was called the Freedom belt with chains on it? Are you for real? And is it
was two black forearms. It was two black forearms. Like we was helping one another. Come on.
All right. Okay.
All two black hands, locking, holding each other like they was trying to whisk one another off the freedom. You know what I'm saying? It was just so slavish, man.
For real.
There's this the Mayan belt have a sombrero on it.
But hey, no, the Mayan belt was actually a beautiful belt, but people need to stop getting all infatuated with the Mayans because they have a dark history on the way they used to do their people. A dark history.
Extremely dark. Even though that's where most sports come from basketball, soccer, and football.
I guess surgery came from there too when they was them taking hearts out.
I mean, bro, like how you treat prisoners of war is it like if you don't have a lot of casualties in your warfare, but instead you take prisoners of war and then sacrifice them. I mean, far fewer people die. Like like we just have wars where we kill the people right out, and we don't just round them up and then sacrifice a couple of them later.
Hey, Smoke. With all due respect, you'd have been to war.
Nah, bro.
Okay.
No. I'm just talking about the casualty list. I'm just talking about how many people die in war. I'm just talking about how many people die in war, not like what the experience of war is like.
So you're trying to say the Mayans was killing the mine's primary target was prisoners of war, not their own people. They sacrifice their own people too now.
I mean, I'm not saying that they don't, like, but I also understand that, you know, the United States has a death penalty, and like we have cops that shoot people all the time. Like like every society preys on its citizenry in order to keep, you know, law and order kind of shit. Like,
I don't find what happens with any type of law enforcement, the actions they take, I don't compare that to a war.
I don't either. I don't either. We're just talking about the amount of sacrifice that happens, right? Is for the vast majority of like human sacrifice, and it was like Aztecs who did it more than Mayans, but the Mayans did it too. But for those people, like the majority of people who got sacrificed, they were prisoners of war, and in their wars, they didn't have a lot of casualties. The casualties, for the most part, in their wars were this sacrifice thing, the sacrificial ceremonies.
Okay, that's what's up.
I just can't speak on that. I ain't been through.
Yeah,
if you catch me in a war and you take me as a slave or a prisoner, and then you kill me, that's the same thing. I wouldn't be killed if I wasn't in the war. So it's, you just kept me alive to torture me. That's actually against, you know, wartime code. So that is actually worse, respectfully.
I mean, it depends on, you know, like, all right. So now we're going into like how long the Hague has been around, because they were like, that's not even like
that.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's just a whole different can of worms. My only point is like this whole idea of like comparative like moralism, like this they did it really fucked up, and now we have it good. Like you probably should take a couple of look at these factors.
I want to get y'all take on Frank Martin. What do you think as far as his performance with Jackson Marinez? He stopped him in the final round. You know what I'm saying? I want to get your assessment on his performance, and how do you think if he is to fight somebody like Rolly, because then, you know, they're trying to make a big stink of it, you know, somehow get these two in the ring. I don't mind. I could really care two damns about it. But what do y'all think about his assessment with Jackson Marinez?
I mean, you mean Frank Martin? Frank Martin, he had a good performance. He caught a lot of. Who did
I say?
Huh?
Yeah, didn't I say Frank Martin?
Yeah. No, you had said Jackson Marinez. What was your performance? What was your assessment of him? Jackson Marinez ain't been the same since. I can say honestly, since they put that pistol on him during the pandemic, you know, because
in Connecticut,
he cleared. Huh?
You talking about in Connecticut against Rolly?
Yeah, against Rolly, man, because he hasn't looked like the same fighter since that night. Even going into when he fought Comey, the night that he lost to Comey, he hasn't looked like the same Jackson Marinez that I saw that night versus Rolly. Whether it's the style matchup or whatever it is, I haven't seen that same fighter. But with that, Jackson Marinez was able to still get some good shots off, but defensively, I didn't understand or strategically understand what he was trying to do. Was he trying to catch him in between, or was he just trying to? I was just confused on that part. But just being honest, I give Frank Martin a C-. I really don't want to see him in there with Rolly yet. I love to see him go through like a Michelle Rivera, a Isak Cruz. Hell, I even like to see him with a JoJo Diaz, you know. I mean, not even JoJo, but is one more other lower rank guy. But I love to see him in there with somebody like that first, because you know Jackson Marinez was able to touch him up pretty clean when he did fire off his shots. So that's just what I saw.
I saw a guy that Ryan Garcia could beat in Frank Martin. Like, you know, getting Jackson Marinez off the fucking couch with 9 days notice, and you still, like, I saw the length
He'll go 10 rounds. Yeah, I can see that. I see
Yeah.
where you're going with that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? This is kind of like, and what gave him problems. Like, I feel like if Jackson Martinez had more power and had faster hands and threw in combination, then we would have seen a different fight.
I think if we would have got him, off the couch a little earlier, we would have seen a different fight.
That's the way boxing operates in those cases. Short notices. It happens more than you think. You know that, saying for real.
Yeah, most definitely.
They love short notices. People just look at the fight under the bright lights, but no, there's some shit that goes on behind the scene with these short notices. Believe me. So, hearing what y'all said about Frank Martin, he's still in development stages. Even though he got the stoppage, and we're talking about a guy who came off the couch. It kind of looks bad, that you go 10 rounds with a guy coming off the couch. But post fight, Chris Colbert was going a little bit back and forth with Errol Spence. Chris Colbert was fighting in 130, wasn't he? Wasn't Chris Colbert fighting in 130? His last fight with Hector Garcia was at 130, right?
I thought his last fight was at 35.
I thought it was at 30.
Who? Chris Colbert? No, because he fought Hector Garcia for a title eliminator for Roger Gutierrez. So he was at 130, right? So how are you talking to Spence about fighting Frank Martin? You just gonna abandon 130 right now and move up in weight and try to fight, Martin? All of a sudden, when you just lost your last fight at 130. You know what I'm saying? What's going on with this? I don't know what's going on with Chris Colbert. So who would y'all like him to fight? Frank Martin. Would you like to see him fight Rolly more so, or Chris Colbert? I would say Rolly Romero.
Fight Chris Colbert.
Yeah, man. Like, Chris Colbert is like, at least Rolly has some power. Like, he didn't lay down. Like, Chris Colbert at this point is all mouth. He shows up and doesn't even try to win. I don't want to get knocked. I'm not interested in a Chris Colbert fight until he rectifies that situation in the ring. Not interested in anything he has to either. Not interested in anything he has to say. Like, what he has to do is get in the ring and shows that he actually has a desire to win fights.
Yeah, I think that Chris Colbert would come to fight in that fight, and at least hopefully. And that's why I would love to see him fight Chris Colbert instead, because fighting Rolly, he probably just get knocked out real easy. Rolly, even if you get Rolly short notice, Rolly is going to come in better shape than that. Rolly don't really get too fat or out of shape, so that's going to be an easier fight. Chris Colbert winning that fight would mean more. That will be bringing him back into actually fighting. If he beats Chris Colbert, that'll be a great name on his resume. So that will make you look at him like he's actually somebody versus a nobody. That fight will actually make one of them be looked at by the boxing world, even from casuals, better.
Well, I just totally disagree. I just think just personally, he needs to be fighting guys that's already at 135, because you're already on the fast track. You're a late starter, you're a late bloomer, and then at the same time, you are, like I said, you're already on the fast track. And 35 is loaded with guys on your side of the street or across the street. You ain't got no time to be reaching down, picking up guys, and just because they got a name. It's names in your division. It's up and coming. It's names that's up and coming with you that you could be trying to knock them off to get on up to get on up the ranking system. Like I said, you got Michelle Rivera, you got Eastside Cruz. It's guys already there.
El Rayo.
Can he beat any of them though?
Who? Frank Martin?
Huh?
Talk about Frank Martin.
I mean, it ain't the fact. It ain't the fact that if you can beat them, cool. If you can't, you got to fight the guys that's already in the division. Because I'll be honest with you, the perfect fight I would love for him, but I know it can't happen. I would love for him to fight Nakathila after what he just did in his last fight. That would be a great matchup for him. But I know that fight can't happen. So I gave you 3 realistic fights on his side of the street that's comparable and that's gonna move him up the ranking system. I don't see where a Chris Colbert fight moves him up the rankings. That's just my perspective on the whole situation.
Yeah, Frank will beat Colbert. I think Frank will beat Roley. I even think Frank will beat Ryan. Ryan's not that impressive. When you start talking about the upper echelon guys like the Lomas and the fucking Tanks and the Haneys, I don't think he's ready for that level yet. But he's a 15 fight guy. I think he's ready for all those other guys. They say he's the truth, then put his ass in there.
I got you, man. I feel you. I just don't want to see another. I just don't want to see another fight or fast track and get halted like that. I mean, those are 3 great names right there, and I'm not even saying that just because it's my point. I'm just looking at the dynamics and the business of boxing and how everybody claiming side of the street and all that shit. You got 3 good, respectable names right there.
Jay Smith said he would like to see Frank and Regis, even though Regis at 140. Look, Regis will stop Frank Martin.
Bro, that brings me to another point. Frank Martin is big as fuck, and he's buff as fuck for being a 135 pounder. The dude's musculature is all fucking wrong for that division. Like, if he actually had a fighter's physique, then he'd fight at fucking featherweight probably. And he also has, and he'd probably be way more successful at featherweight. But the money's at lightweight, so I'm not saying, hey, go down there. But when it comes right down to it, he's got the same dimensions as fucking Monster Inoue and Tank Davis. But both of those dudes can fucking crack. So, like, really, what are we talking? Like, Frank Martin is not he's an up and comer, but he's not a young pup. He's the same age as fucking Tank. He might be even like a little bit older. Like, dude's 27 years old. Like, I don't. Yeah. Anyway, I think he's gonna be dinking and dunking behind the real talent in the division, and he's just not it. He's good, but yeah, all those names are gonna beat the fuck out of him. Don't try to project him in another division. He's already not in the right division in my mind.
Yeah, I just know if Regis get a hold of this guy, it'll be a short night for real. Regis is that dog, real talk. I mean, what you put in there is good for conversation, but it's definitely not going to play itself out in reality. I can guarantee you that. Even Errol Spence, he said, "Hey, Frank, don't send no tweets out. Don't fuck with that Rugo. Don't do it."
Yeah, you want fucking Chris Colbert, man. We've been hearing about Chris Colbert since Golden Gloves. Like, the idea that he's being fast tracked, like, I'm wondering what the fuck happened to his career, because he had so much steam coming out the amateurs with that Lil B-Hop shit. We don't even talk about that. Like, when's the last time you heard Lil B-Hop? Like, he's not fast tracked. Like, that dude is a fucking bust. Like, to me, bro, you can't. If you talk shit before a fight, lay an egg, and then you start talking shit after a fight, after you let an egg, then you start turning into like Adrian Broner to me. Like, I need to see it in the ring, bro. Like, I get it. You can sell a fight.
Well, I ain't gonna put him in the class with
fight though.
I know. I ain't gonna put him in. Adrian Broner's done something in the sport. No, Adrian Broner's done something in the sport. Adrian Broner's a 4th division champion.
AB will fight anybody.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that Chris Colbert won't. I'm just saying that once they make the fight and he gets paid and all that shit, what are you gonna see in the ring? You not throw punches and shake your head, and then talk shit like right after the fight. Like,
AB's mentality has never been a conversation where he was scared about getting knocked out. AB was like, you ain't gonna knock me out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, in his worst fight, he couldn't get stopped. You know what I'm saying? AB's mentality is different. Chris Colbert, he said he didn't want to get knocked out. That means he's unwilling to take risk. And the dude was just going from Lil B Hop to Prime Time. I don't know who authorized him down here in GA to get Prime Time's name, but I'm gonna call Dion tomorrow. I'm gonna say you need to motherfucking trademark that shit and ban Chris Colbert from using it, because he ain't no Prime Time nothing. Any brother who comes out to the ring with that many colors on their uniform, hell no, bro.
Yeah, I know he's like, he has this whole like Latin flair to me, and I get it's New York and all this stuff. Whatever, man. Like all this calling attention to your name, and I'm not saying that he has a career or the mentality or nothing like that of Adrian Broner. I'm just talking about the ability to talk shit and then lay egg and then still talk shit like you're about to do something. Like, bro, you gotta if you want me to believe in you, you gotta believe. If you want me to believe in you, show me something different in the ring, and then I'll listen to all the trash you talk outside of the ring.
I absolutely agree. He definitely has to show it in the ring. He definitely, you know what I'm saying? Because he was talking mad shit to Garcia. I mean, he was taking over the interview process at the presser. Oh man, it was all bad for him, man. All bad. And I don't show no leniency or nothing for him, because he was down here in the A at the celebrity boxing. He was just acting a complete fool, man. Dude has an ego bigger than, man, school buses you see, for real. Like, he just don't care, man. He talked to people like shit. He has a big mouth. And of course, the shit he talked about Shakur Stevenson, Deontay Wilder, and, Devin Haney. Man, they was all clowning this dude when he lost. And he lost bad too, man.
Yeah, that is one thing that, like, listen, I feel like Wilder came off a couple of bad losses, but his stock grew in his losses, right? Like, maybe after the first loss, like, after rematch, there was a whole bunch of backlash and people like jumped off and was piling on. But what he showed in the third fight, even in a loss, all that heart, all that determination and will, like, if you would have seen any of that from Chris Colbert, then I'd be saying something different about what he's talking about right now. But this dude laid the fuck down, rolled over, and showed his soft underbelly, and now he's talking shit. Like, that dude was not even who. I heard, Scotty, you just said his name, but it was in one ear, right out the other. I'm not going to remember that dude's name. Just like I'm not going to remember the last name of the guy that Andrade won for his 160 belt. Like, I know his first name is Walter, but his last name is, I'm never going to fucking remember that shit. The same way I'm never going to remember the guy that beat Chris Colbert. Like, come on, man. Like, you got to show me something better than that.
Well,
talking shit again.
To the other points you guys are making, you want to keep I don't know who said that in the chat, but you want to keep Frank Martin far away from Regis. You do not want him going nowhere near that dude.
Like, how can he make 140? What's he going to look like?
It doesn't look matter.
Yes.
That don't even matter. You keep him. Regis will beat the shit out of him. Really.
It don't matter how he look. Regis would beat the shit out of Frank Martin, man.
Yeah.
Regis is different.
Yeah.
So you keep him away from him. When it comes to Chris Colbert, it's only two words you need to sum up Chris Colbert's career. He quit. He quit. It's hard to come back from it. As a professional boxer, a championship level professional boxer, when you quit in a fight.
Well, he didn't even quit, bro. Like,
he quit.
Would have been a more resolution. He gave up.
Quit.
He didn't try to win.
Quit.
Like,
that's quitting. Like, giving up and quitting is the same thing.
Like Acelino Freitas quit against fucking Chico. That's what quitting looks like. Like, don't meet the bell. Like, sit in a fucking stool so we get a retirement. What he did is make us suffer through a complete lack of effort or desire or inspiration or anything. It was just torture watching this dude not even give a flying fuck.
He quit. He didn't want to.
Quit would have been. I'm telling you, AJ quit against fucking Andy Garcia. Like, I'm trying to tell you, there's all kinds of ways.
He quit, man. There's no way around it. The motherfucker quit. He gave up. He stopped fighting.
Mr. Moore, I'm not like semantics,
but
I'm gonna keep on talking about how Chris Colbert is full of shit. Totally full of shit. That dude is all mouthpiece. Like, what he should do is get a podcast.
Man, what you thought about the big call out this weekend, Scotty?
I thought it was perfect. You on your way out. You know you only got one fight left, maybe two. Why not call out the biggest name in American boxing? Why not? He been calling the dude out for 3-4 years anyway. Not like it's the first time he called the dude out. He been calling him out. And that is a huge fight in the UK. And it's a money fight in the UK. Did you see the house at that fight? This motherfucker got 12 losses. Did you see the O2 Arena? That shit was packed out.
Yeah, it was.
That shit was packed out. And he got $5 million for that fight. That's a big money fight in the UK. That's a big money fight in the UK. I would love to let Chisora go out with a big money fight.
What? With who? With who? I don't want to
The
see
guy he
Deontay
called
Wilder
out.
fight Chisora.
The
though.
guy he called out. Hell yeah. I mean, you know, we love Wilder. We do love Wilder, but Wilder coming off 2 straight ass whoopings. We don't know what Wilder is right now.
But how many
We have
ass
no
whoopings
idea what
has
he is.
Chisora? How many he accumulated? How many
Time
ass
out.
whoopings has Chisora accumulated?
I'm telling you,
How
man.
many
He got 12 losses.
Look, Deontay Wilder has 2 losses. 2 losses, right?
Right.
Deontay Wilder has 2 distinct losses, considerably by the top heavyweight in the game. How many losses do Chisora have
12.
accumulatively with his freaking not the number? I'm talking about the opponents, the different opponents, and what they top tier like Deontay Wilder facing Tyson Fury. It's no comparison. It's no comparison, bro.
No comparison.
No, I'm not saying there's no comparison. I'm saying
say he got his ass whooped.
No. He
and
did
he's
get his
fighting
ass
Tyson
whooped. What you
Fury.
mean? He got his ass whooped.
Bro, you
What
can't
you
say he
mean?
got his ass
No,
whooped
man.
and compare it to Derek Chisora.
Let me get this one, Scott. Let me get this one. How he got his ass whooped? You acting like Fury didn't have to go through the fire to do what he did.
Oh,
I mean, when y'all
I respect Wilder's heart. I respect his heart.
Fury ain't touching ground at all.
I respect his heart. He
That's why y'all
showed
be making
tremendous
the
heart. He
video,
dropped the
you
man.
can't say he
He
got
dropped the
the
man
Facebook
4
to let it
times.
get off the
He
fight.
dropped the man 4 times in 3 fights. He dropped him 4 times in 3 fights. I respect his heart. But don't change the fact that
he dropped him 4 times in 3 fights and got 2 gift 10 counts. Call the shit like it is now.
That's fact there, Shelton. That's fact.
Yeah,
bro.
I'm not debating any of that.
He got the
Still
gift
don't
10
change the fact that he
count in the
got.
trilogy, and he got
It
the
still
gift 10
doesn't
count in the
change the
first
fact
fight.
that he got stopped in the second fight and knocked out in the third. He got his ass whooped. It doesn't change that.
Well, in the third fight, he wanted. Look. You have to look at it this way, Sheldon. I'm not telling you how to think. Neither
Okay,
will I.
I'm listening. I'm listening, brother.
I'm not telling you how to think. But when your initial statement about Wilder is that he got his ass whooped is a bit condescending. And I know you understand boxing way better than that to say, okay, where's the buzz now with Deontay Wilder? It's nowhere because he's out of the sport. So that means he made the heavyweight division what it was. He gave it that buzz that he was looking for. You know,
I'm not debating any of that. I'm not. He brought it back. Him and AJ brought it back. I'm not debating. I'm not debating any
AJ
of that.
didn't do shit. AJ didn't do shit except stay in the protection committee across the pond, bro. He didn't do shit. But when it came to Deontay Wilder, he gave Fury the fight when Fury was coming back off that couple of years hiatus from goddamn being a nose puffer and Halloween goddamn sniffing. So he gave him the opportunity, went to a draw. Deontay Wilder should have had that first fight in the bag, bro. It was a long count by Jack Reese.
Okay.
It was a long count. So when he went into the rematch, Tyson Fury didn't want the immediate rematch. Okay, the fight was stopped. He did take some punishment in that fight. No doubt about it. But it's embroiled in scandal and controversy. You go through court, come out of arbitration, he gets stopped. No doubt in that. But the first line that you speak on that he got his ass whooped, no, bro, that's a bit. That's harsh, bro. You know what I'm saying?
How's it harsh?
Very,
when Ali
very
fought Joe
condescending.
Look, wait a minute. When Muhammad Ali, the greatest fighter who ever lived, fought Joe Frazier in the first fight, he got his ass whooped.
We talking about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, which the fight about Ali and Frazier has absolutely nothing to do with it.
He got his ass whooped. It's the same connotation.
Two different eras. No, it's not. It's 2 different eras, 2 different opponents.
Hey, you guys see it the way you see it. I see it the way I see it. But that doesn't change the fact that Deontay Wilder is the biggest name in American boxing.
I'm just saying, you don't think
he's the money guy?
He did what he needed to do. Like,
yeah, he's the money guy. He did his thing. You can't. What he did.
No, I'm talking about allowing himself to have a trilogy with a big ass heavyweight like Tyson Fury, and to not even think twice about going to court after the rematch for through the arbitration to get in there a third time with a fighter that he experienced the worst in the rematch. You know, he was stopped in the 7th. Even though, you know, Mark Breland threw in the towel, he was still taking punishment. For him to go back through court and make that trilogy, man, the first thing out my mouth said, hey, Deontay Wilder is one of the most courageous heavyweights we knew of this era. And, you know, though he, you know, took punishment in the rematch, he wanted to come back for the trilogy. And he went out on the shield. Now he got his ass.
I'm not debating any of that. I'm not debating any of that. But I still see it the way I see it.
Yeah, for sure. I understand
Yeah,
that.
I'm not debating any of that.
I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying.
And let me say this. And let me say this. One thing I will never question. I have questioned his skill. I will never question Deontay Wilder's heart. The boy got the heart of a lion. He's a warrior.
Well,
he stood in it.
42-0 and 41 knockouts. What do you have to say about his skill when it comes to the heavyweight division? All these fighters can be unorthodox. All these fighters can have this awkward type of way of fighting. You know, so that's just the way it is. Who out of the heavyweight division that you feel that fits your skillful nomenclature? You know what I'm saying? Who did you say?
The only guy I see right now that I believe is a skilled fighter. The only guy I see right now that's fighting the heavyweight is Jared Anderson. That's the only guy I see.
I can't do that. I can't go with that. I'm sorry. Jared Anderson is skilled, but I think Frank Sanchez is a little bit more skilled than him.
I like Frank.
I agree.
I like Frank.
Sanchez has movement, which a lot of heavyweights don't have. You know what I'm saying?
But I think that Jared is next up. I think Jared is next up.
You want him to be next up, though?
Yes, I do.
Do you think Jared Anderson beat Deontay Wilder right now?
No, I wouldn't do that.
So if Jared Anderson is a more skillful fighter, why do you think he can't beat Deontay Wilder, who you say don't have skills and he's been stopped twice?
Deontay Wilder has experience, and Deontay Wilder got that equalizer, and he has a great delivery system for it. I'm not taking nothing away from Deontay Wilder. What he did in 13 years of boxing will probably never be equal. The man started boxing when he was 20 years old.
Yeah, it was late. Yeah.
That time he was 33, he was the heavyweight champion of the world. That will never be equaled again. Who's done that? Look at the history of boxing.
No, I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying Deontay didn't take punishment, but just to initially come out and say, okay, he got his ass whooping, you don't follow it up with anything. Like, look, you're a grown ass man like me. I ain't trying to tell you how to talk. It's just conversation, bro. It's just boxing conversation, man.
Yeah, it's just boxing conversation. Yeah, that's just the way I see it.
This is one of those topics where friendships have been severed their shelf.
It's not that serious for me, bro. It's not that serious.
When it comes to Deontay Wilder's name, friendships have been severed.
It's not that serious for me, man. I like these dudes online are talking about. I'll relate a story to you. I went to the Tank Barrios fight in Atlanta. You remember that fight?
Yeah.
I went to that fight. I flew out there for that fight, man. It was some guys online that threatened me and said they was gonna beat me up and they was gonna slap the shit out of me when they saw me and all this old shit, right? So I happened to run across those guys.
YTC conversations?
This is over boxing conversation. Over boxing conversation. So what happened was I happened to run into those guys at that Hooters. You know, the one I stayed at the American. So it's a Hooters like 2 blocks away. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I happened to run into those guys at that Hooters, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, man? That's you, right? Yeah, you said you was gonna do what now?" And the whole energy changed. So I understand how these conversations can get out of hand. I'm just saying, for me, it's never that. It's a boxing conversation. It's like the barbershop. You know how heated it gets at the barbershop.
We just have to make sure that we make sure that you mention because Wilder is so polarizing a figure that he either stopped or dropped everybody's got in the ring with. He started talking about skills.
He did,
and that's what I was getting at. Smoke. I understand he took the punishment, but he dropped everybody he fought. You know, and then when your conversation, not you per se, but when your conversation is that Deontay Wilder doesn't have skills, you have to kind of caveat to that. You know what I'm saying? He had enough skills to put down every fighter, including Tyson Fury, who is considered the best heavyweight right now. He had the skills to put him down. He had the skills, man.
Yeah, he did. He has a great delivery system for that right hand. He has a great delivery system
Yeah,
for
and
right
Sheldon,
hand.
But with the delivery system is dealing with skills though.
I don't.
And in order to overcome that delivery system, he had to go to the architects of that delivery system in Crump Gym to deconstruct it and counteract it.
Yeah, I mean he
I just
changed up
don't.
his
I mean,
trainer for
hey,
the rematch.
everybody has their opinion on every fighter. That's what makes boxing great. That's what makes these conversations so great. I just don't
Tyson Fury
see.
changed his trainer for the rematch and the trilogy.
I just don't see Deontay Wilder as a skilled boxer. I see him as a great fighter. He's a great fighter,
Yeah.
but a skilled boxer, I don't
And
see.
this is all I'm saying.
Oh, no one never said, you know.
And
Go ahead, Deon.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
what just triggered me, it was just like, you know, everybody making it seem like Tyson Fury just won every round he didn't get knocked down in all 3 fights. I can't say that.
No. I would never say that.
It's just how
I never questioned his heart. He got heart. He's a dog. Yeah, he's a dog. He got heart. I never question that. I just say I question his skill. But as a dog, as a heart, great fighter, yeah, Deontay Wilder is that.
Well, his name, even though he's not even active right now, we don't know when he's returned to the sport.
Right.
It just goes to show you what he meant while he was laced up. You know what I'm saying? What he meant to the sport, why they wasn't giving him any credit, anything like that. You know, and also it was a big divide, somewhat like, you know, Crawford Spence when
worse. Oh, it was worse.
The Fury Wilder conversation was going on when he was still contending.
Oh, it was worse.
I feel like even in a loss, Wilder redeemed himself from all of those fucking people who were saying he couldn't fight, and all that shit. Like everybody had to shut the fuck up and show and say and give him this dude his props for being a fucking warrior, for nothing else. Like they were calling him everything but they were saying he wasn't a real man. He wasn't a man. He wasn't a fighter. He wasn't a man. He wasn't none of that shit. And yeah, even though he fucking went out on the 3rd fight, they shut all that shit the fuck up.
Yeah, he redeemed himself in the 3rd fight. Anything you had bad to say about Wilder, you can't question that 3rd fight. That was an instant classic.
I'm saying not just the Fury part, but I'm saying his entire career. All that Harold Conyers, like people, Harold Conyers, like they don't know that dude's a terrific amateur standout or whatever, just because he didn't have that. You know, Harold did a pro career. Conyers could fucking fight. You're like, oh yeah,
no, not really. He could fight in the amateurs. He could fight in the amateurs.
He could crack, and he could always crack. That was all I'm saying is the dude could always crack.
Yeah. I agree with that. And a lot of people don't even know what the hell you're talking about right now. because most of that has been scrubbed somehow from Google searches, you know, and everything.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but my icon though, bro, is from here. Let me stop my camera right now. But my icon right there is from the '96 Olympic trials. That was and in that thing you got fucking Diego Corrales, who fought Zab Judah that day. You got Maidana, who was just there to observe. Him and Corrales used to have the same trainer back in the day. This guy named Miguel Sanchez. And then to the right of them, you got Floyd and Augie Sanchez, who fought that day. And Augie Sanchez beat him. But on that same card, you had Harold Conyers fighting Layman Brewster.
Okay. Same one that gave Klitschko that work, huh?
Yeah, the only guy to that Klitschko rematched.
Yeah. He had to.
Yeah, I mean, usually Vitaly cleaned up the work.
Usually Vitaly come in and beat him up after they beat his brother. Yeah. After they beat his brother, Vitaly come in and beat him up.
Yeah, but Layman Brewster, now you got it. Vlad redeemed that one.
I just want Wilder to go on this UK bash because they let everybody else do it. So shoot, fuck it, go on over there, go on your UK bash and just leave all the money over there. Don't bring nothing.
Go get the bag. That's my point.
Yeah, he need to go collect some heads over there, bro. It's time.
That's what I'm saying. I just go get Daniel Dubois.
I don't want to see him fight Dubois. Dubois don't deserve to fight with Wilder.
I do. I want to see him knock
Yeah.
Dubois clean the fuck out, dog.
Yeah. I say Chisora because what he meant to the sport, and the AJ fight is the ones I want. Daniel Dubois ain't done enough.
Like Dubois now, they won't give him any credit for that fight.
Yeah, Dubois ain't done enough to be in the ring with Wilder. Even Dillian White gets a shot. If Dillian White got $10 million, I don't think he fight nobody no time soon.
I mean, but he was talking so much, when Wilder was active, his backstory just like his backstory with Joshua and Wilder. I just want to see Dillian White get his shot at the Bronze Bomber and get sent to the upper room for a fourth time. That's all I want to see.
Room, and you gotta love the way fucking Dillian White loses.
Like I said, man, Dillian White just got $10 million. I don't think he's fighting nobody no time.
Might be right, man.
Well, that's the thing. And Chris Colbert should take a page out of Dillian White's book. Like, it's cool to talk shit, but once you get your ass fucked up, shut up.
That's gonna be hard. He's a Philly fighter, right? He's a Philly dude, right?
No, he's a New York dude. He's a New York guy.
Oh, he's in New York.
Man, he's all the way in New York. He's all swag, no fucking stuff, all sizzle, no steak. Yeah, all sizzle, no steak.
Damn.
I think Wilder need to fight Chisora. Then he need to fight Dubois. Then he need to fight Dillian White. And by that time, I guess AJ and Fury have been and did what they need to do. Fight AJ and go on and ride out in the sunset. Fuck it.
But Dubois has a WBA regular title, Dion. That's why I said fight Dubois.
I know,
but
that's
not easy. I want to respect it, but it's a championship.
But that's not easy money. That's
why I gave you the order that I did. I said,
I got you.
Fight Chisora out the couch, and then I'll fight Dubois. Then me and Dillian White, we could sell a WBA regular title over there. And then, hell, by that time, Fury and AJ have been to do whatever they gonna do. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. The money's not there what it was, but everybody still want to see Wilder AJ. Everybody want to see who really will win that fight either way. The money's not there what it once was, but folks still want to see the fight.
Yeah, but will AJ want to step up and
I don't know
take that? I don't think AJ is committing to that, man. I just don't think, man. I just don't have that confidence in AJ, bro.
I don't know, man. See, that boy they just went over there and got $80 million for that boy. I think the money is there.
Who got $80 million?
Contract.
No,
got $80 million.
Like, just went to the Saudis and got $80 million for this next fight.
My issue is really
$40 million apiece.
My issue with
AJ and Usyk. AJ and Usyk. August 20th.
$80 million over in Saudi.
He signed a $100 million contract to broadcast with Sky and not DAZN. It wasn't really for a fight.
No, that's fine. Yeah. That's separate from the $80 million that Eddie Hearn got for this rematch. That's separate from that.
Yeah, but what's the splits on that? And that's for the whole card. Eddie Hearn
50,
just talks
50.
about the growth.
No, it's not.
It's not 50-50 for $80 million. Eddie Hearn got it for the entire card. Eddie Hearn is playing fucking shell game. He's playing shell game.
You got to pay them other guys. He's doing
he's doing gross receipts and then talking about 50-50. Like both guys gonna get $40 million. That's not what it is.
Here's the thing. Who else is getting $80 million for the fight? From anywhere, anywhere.
I'm saying
not every fight is in Saudi, and not everybody can do.
It's not going to be in Saudi. It's going to be in London, England.
Right, and
it's not going to be in Saudi. It's going to be in London, England.
Here's the thing, bro.
I misunderstood what you said about the initial $80 million.
Here's the deal. Eddie Hearn tells us these numbers ostensibly to tell us how much value, market value, Matchroom has. There is no way to verify any of this shit, and it actually strains fucking belief. That all of a sudden there's $80 million for a fight in England, which is like their fucking average income is like $30,000. Like I'm not buying this shit. Like it's fine that he says this shit. It's fine to say it, but it don't make any goddamn sense at all.
80 million in London. Wow, for
London,
Anthony Joshua, man, that's Eddie Hearn's just bloviating the numbers, bro. That's what he does. He's a good salesman for real. Eddie Hearn is good what he does, man. I'll give him that. But $80 million in London, man. Come on, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, come on, man. I mean, we saw it. All that shit he was talking all the way. It was time to come to America, and then it was like 32 million. Like he was talking about all these fucking exorbitant numbers that AJ made for fucking for Vlad, and how much he made for Povetkin and all this stuff. Then it turns out the most money he was gonna make in his entire career was gonna come from the zone at that point. And then right after he left America, it went right back up to tens of millions of dollars and all this fucking shit. As soon as you have to verify that shit, then the real fucking comes out.
Interesting. I'd definitely like to see Wilder, AJ, but I think if AJ loses to Usyk the second time, he's definitely not coming to see Wilder. It's not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Plus,
he's
he's made
retire.
pretty good.
If
pretty
he
good
doesn't
money.
win, he's gonna retire. He's got money. Yeah, he's gonna retire.
Pretty,
No, but
pretty
he
good money.
just signed that contract.
I don't
That
know if he'll
$100
retire.
No.
I think he'll
But I'll be
retire.
honest with
I think
I'll
he's
be
gonna
honest with
retire either way. I think if he win, he gonna retire. If he lose, he gonna retire.
He just signed a $100 million contract with the network, though, for multiple fights.
that. I'll be honest with you. He lose to Usyk again. That makes Wilder Joshua even faster.
That's what I'm saying. The only thing I'm worried about with Wilder is even in victories, he tells us about either injuries he's sustained in training camp or we've seen him get injured in fights. So at this point, like the idea of multiple training camps, the idea of multiple training camps is just like a little bit like worrisome for me.
I got you. But this is what I'm saying. You don't have to worry about him being ready for that fight because it's bad blood. He gonna show up ready for that one. Even more so than the 3 Fury fights. I think that motivates him even more if he knew he could get that Joshua fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
I don't see why he couldn't get it because Wilder can't be controlled by PBC or anybody. Wilder's the money guy. He's the money guy at PBC. He's the draw. So I think Wilder can go fight anybody he wants.
Yeah, but
I think it's up to Wilder.
If I was gonna do it, I mean,
I think it's up to Wilder. I don't think it's up to Al Heyman. I think it's up to Wilder. What Wilder?
Oh, it's always up to
I'd love to see. I would love to see
up to
Wilder
Al.
fight. I'd love to see. I'm expecting for Andy Ruiz to beat Luis Ortiz, and if that happens, I'd like to see Wilder knock Andy Ruiz the fuck out. Even though that's a Cali fucking guy, but yeah. Yeah, you got that dude got to fall. Hopefully, Dillian White can win. Hopefully, Dillian White can.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, that'll be real fast. Hopefully Dillian White can get a win after that fucking Fury washing, so that people could maybe believe in him again. But a lot of his fans were just Wilder haters and like kind of bandwagon fans. So I'm not sure. But yeah, that AJ, that's the big one. That's to me, that's the big one. But like, if Ugas though could get around Fury, I would love to see Wilder fight fucking Ugas for undisputed. I think he knocks him the fuck out.
Usyk,
Alexander Usyk, the guy that was getting touched the fuck up by Tony Bell.
You said Ugas, that's why I said that. You said
no. I said Ugas. Yeah, I mean Usyk. Yeah,
Ugas could step in there.
No, man. Ugas need to come back. I mean, people.
You think his eye look bad then?
Shit, dude. No, they hit that dude so hard, all the people was crying.
I'll be honest with you. The round robin that I really want to see in the heavyweight division, I kind of have already thought about it. If Ruiz get past Ortiz, I love to see him fight Frank Sanchez. I like to see Robert Helenius get one either Otto Weiland or dang, I was just thinking about it the other night. But it's enough quality heavyweights to do a good round robin outside of the top 4 in that next tier.
What about Otto Weiland?
You know what it is? It's not so much as a round robin as just sort of a clarification for like the last like 4 or 5 years as who's number 1, who's number 2, who's number 3, who's number 4, who's number 5. Like you got Andy Ruiz fighting, former Unified fighting the 2-time challenger at a Crossroads fight in their thing. You got the former long reigning guy coming back. You got the unification rematch for who's going to be that, and then you have the champion waiting for the winner of that fight. So, like, I'm just trying to get some fucking clarification for the last generation before we start like another thing. But I hear what you're saying when it comes to like the Frank Sanchez's and the Nordic Nightmares, who's basically been long reigning guy. Like he's been around for a while. He's been, dinking and dunking behind the headlines for 5-6 years. I hear what you're saying.
I know. Of,
yeah, and then go ahead, Scott.
I know of Tyson Fury. Let's just say Alexander Usyk, pick up some W in the rematch. Him and Fury fight for the undisputed. That fight will be bigger than people were, hoping when Deontay Wilder was in court. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be way bigger because on one half you have Tyson Fury, who did get the win against Deontay Wilder, who's just out there waiting. In the meanwhile, he knocked out Dillian White. And then Alexander Usyk come back and defeat Joshua a second time. Now you have a fight that people are going to look at as like, it's going to be a big fight, man. It's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be big because Alexander Usyk is undefeated. He'll be still undefeated. And Tyson Fury be undefeated. And we're going for history with this Fury Usyk.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Usyk wins that fight, then then Wilder versus Usyk will be huge.
I mean, we're talking about that fight being huge on a hardcore level. Like monetarily, that's not a big fight.
Who?
I mean, it's not a big fight if you were to have it, if you stayed in 2022. But if you have him beat AJ the second time and then beat Fury, which is also going to be a big fight, and in the meantime, you have Wilder beat Ruiz and Dillian White coming off a win. I feel like both of those things you can now sell yourself a fight to the American public because you got a unified guy who beat fucking Deontay Wilder, and you got Wilder coming off of a win streak, a comeback win streak.
And we're not sure how many fights Deontay have left.
He's 35.
He's 35 right now.
Yeah, so I'm talking about 2 fights. That's 1 year.
Yeah, we don't know how many fights he has remaining.
I mean, Chisora is not a bad thing though. Like, listen, I feel like, I mean, if you can, again, I'm more worried about the training camps than I am about the fights. Like, it seems like he's getting injured in camp more than he is in fights.
How many fights has he pulled out of from those injuries though? Because Deontay
0, but how many? But he's had to fight 2 hands with 1 arm.
I'm just saying how many fights he's had with injuries and how many fights has he pulled out of because
there's zero fights pulled out of.
Then you can't put that stamp on his head. Then
no, what I'm putting on his head is that even in victories, the dude. So now I'm not even talking about the 2 fights he had to win with 1 arm, but even in fights where he performed spectacularly, he talked about how he had trouble in camp, like how he got an injury in camp. He just seems to be. And like more so than in fights, it seems like he is getting some kind of degradation happening in training camp. I don't know what the fuck's going on. From his own mouth, this is what he says.
Yeah,
and what I've seen,
hey, World Combat. I ain't mean to mess your night up, man, but they just snuck Big Baby Mill in the top 15, don't you?
I mean, that's gonna happen because who he's, they pushing him. You know what I'm saying? He's been sponsored by some new people, ramen noodles, pork chop Sammy, and some other, food companies out there. You know what I'm saying? Sardine or us. I mean, yeah, they're gonna sit up here and push you. You talking about Jarrell Miller just weighed in at 341, right?
Did you say 341 pounds? You didn't just say that.
Yeah, Jarrell Miller.
Yeah,
he
looked
looked
bad, at 341. Man. He fought like 2-3 weeks ago.
Hold up.
It's on YouTube.
Wait. Just can you wheel it back? I heard that he was coming back, but I didn't realize he had a fight. Are we
He
talking?
already
Yeah,
fought.
it's
He
on
already fought.
YouTube.
I just
He
know.
just fought like 2 weeks ago.
All right, that's what's up. God damn. I heard he was coming back, and he was that whole thing was the fight too. I didn't hear anybody talk about it. Oh, you guys didn't mention the fight. You just mentioned how much he weighed. All right,
You haven't seen his picture out there yet, man.
bro. I didn't hear. All I heard, the last thing I heard is Big Baby Miller's coming back, and then I saw him smiling somewhere, and now the next thing I hear, and that was like a month ago.
I'm gonna drop the fight link for you, bro.
That's what's up. Thank you.
I'm about to post this picture. This dude look crazy, and now we understand like why he was on the pads, man. You know, because the pads was helping him control his weight because he wasn't, motivated enough to control his eating and getting in the gym. Because we all know you eat, the more you eat, the more lazy you get. Them pads was helping him go in there and maintain a certain decent weight and getting them, mentally prepared to go in there and get that training. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get that sparring in. Because he had problems putting down the fork. You know what I'm saying? Those pads helped him get in there and push through those workouts.
He was definitely working that fork out. 5,000 reps a day. But
does anybody even want to see him fight?
I mean, I haven't seen him, so I got like 341 pounds.
No, does anybody want to see him?
I gotta see. Listen, if
nobody wants to see that guy
I
fight,
didn't know that. I didn't know what he looked like in his last fight because the last time I saw him, he was throwing more punches.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about Big Baby Miller.
Well,
Nobody cares.
I don't know about that, bro.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, no, I don't know. You going far with that one? If this dude can, like the heavyweight
who wants
division,
to see him fight? Who?
That's Big Baby in the last. That's
That's
341
Big Baby,
pounds.
bro. You don't understand. That's mouthpiece. You know what? That's not that bad. I imagine it looking worse. That is mouthpiece.
Nobody nothing about that dude, man.
As soon as he get look at his arms though. Oh wow, that is horrible looking. I thought he looked better.
On
That
this
is
panel, hold on, Smoke. Hold on, Smoke. On this panel, you gonna tell me you want to see this dude fight somebody?
All I'm telling you is this dude will talk his way. Like I wasn't interested in the Rolly fight but my kids started like them talk. Right? It's generational. Like these young boys, they like a mouthpiece. If he gets into a fight, and he throws a ton of fucking punches. If he still throws a gazillion punches,
he used to when he was on
I haven't seen the fight. My brother's gonna put.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Truth be told, I know it's unpopular, but I wouldn't mind seeing the heavyweights have a super series because there's enough names for them to have a super series outside of the top 6, the top 6 or 8. It's enough names for them guys to mix it up because hell, because I'm gonna be honest with you. Whether you knew who Junior Farr was, Junior Farr was getting a lot of pub. Lucas Brown went in there and got him clean on out of there, and now now that's somebody that can be fighting. You still got Joseph Parker, you still got Otto Wilde, Martin Bacoli, Philip Hergovich, Edric Cabiel, Michael Hunter,
what is
Joe Joy, Zali Zane,
he's fighting. He's
Huey Fury. I mean, them guys need to be mixing it up, bro. I mean, goddamn, man, y'all can really throw a good round robin together and bring some clarity and some cachet to the heavyweight.
But we already have clarity in the heavyweight division, though. We have clarity.
He's talking about outside of the top 5 or the top 7, right? Like he's like Hergovic and Zili Zhang, they scheduled their fight. They're about to fight. But all those other guys, I don't know what else going on. But I mean, so let's say you put what would the prize be? It'd be like $30 million.
That's why
maybe.
I said it had clarification because if you're talking about putting them in a series and the prize isn't a championship belt, what are you going to give them an interim? Nobody wants to see that. It has to be for one of the titles, man. It has to be for one of the titles, bro.
You can make it about cash though. You could have the prize be 40 million. But how do you make it? How do you make money if there's no title on the line? I hear you. Yep. I get there's no way to sell it.
I mean, it'd be great if the titles, were, on the line.
I just say them guys need to mix it up, bro.
They're all like the stratification on boxing comes into play because they're all on completely different, or they're under different organizations with different broadcasting obligations.
Well, the rumor is that the winner of this rematch has been mandated by the WBO to fight Joe Joyce or drop the belt.
He's probably going to drop the belt, or he'll fight Joe Joyce. It's not. Come on, man. You see,
if Usyk wins, he's already beat Joe Joyce. So.
You see how he looked against Christian Hammer? I don't think Alexander Usyk have an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, he already beat Joe Joyce anyway in the boxing Super Series, so he's not worried about Joe Joyce.
Yeah. Well, fellas, I got to bounce, man.
Joe Joyce, man. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got to bounce, fellas. It's been a pleasure, man. Kicking it with y'all. You know what I'm saying? For close to 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? Good times, bro. And appreciate y'all pulling up to the avenue. If y'all got any last words, go ahead and spit it.
Thank you for having me, bro. Appreciate your time.
Man. Always a pleasure. Oh, you brothers have a great week,
bro.
It's all good, my brothers. Appreciate y'all pulling up. And until next time, big salute to the ones who was in the chat, man. Blood, Dion, 20, D-Ray was in the building, Harris, Jay Smith, Snacks B, Cammy, Surf Senior, Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Appreciate all y'all for pulling up, man. Big salute. Turn up and tune in the world.